Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 29 of the Cool Water Show over here on Silent Podcast, where we're recapping anything and everything from the Real Housewives Universe. My name is Kari. I am joined by my co-host Katie. Katie, how are you on this Monday evening?
I'm good. I can't believe we're about to enter our 30s. What a
I
time.
know,
What
right?
a time. That's wild. I'm good. It's hot, but it's hot everywhere. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell I'm wearing a big sweater, but I have my AC on, but I'm just living. How are you?
I'm good. Today was like the first day that it wasn't hot and humid here in like a week, which is
Hopefully
nice,
that
but
means it comes this way.
yeah. Um, but I'm always in a sweatshirt because it's always cold in this room. So you can never tell if it's like winter, summer, whatever
Hmm.
season here. But no, I'm good. I watched a couple episodes of Housewives today to prepare for this. I just ate my lean cuisine cauliflower pizza.
Ooh,
It's actually like not bad.
it
Um,
doesn't sound bad.
no, I don't mind it. It's definitely not like I let me eat this to just eat this. It's kind of like, oh, I kind of enjoy you. But yeah.
Hmm.
So we're good over here. Before we get going, so I don't forget at the end, we just want to give you a quick programming note. Um, the next couple of weeks are busy, mostly my fault. So and by mostly I mean it is my fault. So we're gonna take a 2-week break and um we will miss you, but we'll come back better than ever for our 30th episode. So, just as a heads up, if you don't hear from us, at least on this podcast for 2 weeks, that's why, but we'll still be keeping up with our TJ Hates Quitters coverage. So, you won't have to miss us entirely. But yeah, just want to throw that out there. So, let's jump into this week's episodes of The Real Housewives. We're going to start off with Atlanta. And um, I want to put this out there right away. If you ignore Kenya arguing with Marlow, that component of the episode, this is one of my favorite Kenya episodes ever.
Was it because of the Trump sign?
Just everything. She was just like, she came in with an energy of just like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, happy to see and talk to everyone except for Marlow. She was cracking jokes. She was dancing. She's just like light, funny. The Trump sign, everything. Just like, this was such a good Kenya episode, excluding her and Marlow just going at each other's throats. Like, if you ignore that part, I loved this episode from Kenya.
Yeah, this whole episode, just this season, like not that much has really happened, but I've just been loving everybody. Like I feel like I'm loving Marlo, I'm loving Kenya. I'm just really liking everyone. I feel like they all have as even though it's like always a toxic energy sometimes, it's like a fun toxic energy. So I'm really here for it in general. But yeah, Kenya was a lot of fun. She came in, she was like running into the house too. I was like, what is she running? Like I don't understand what's happening here. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, there's a few times in my notes where I'm just like, Kenya's hilarious right now. Like, I'm loving the
Yes.
Kenya we're getting. So,
Yes.
that goes with the caveat of her and Marlo fighting, and that's how the episode starts. Is just a reminder, Marlo giving us that, like, okay, if Kenya doesn't stay with us tonight, she is not welcome on any of these trips activities, which
Mm-hmm.
was the main conversation we ended with last episode. So the next morning after this dinner, we get Drew mentioning to Ralph on the phone that she thinks Fatum might be coming and she doesn't want that because Drew thinks Fatum is drama. So a little bit of foreshadowing because we've got,
That's like you could say that again is really what I'm trying to say here.
yeah, we've got basically we've got two boxing matches happening throughout this episode. We have Drew versus Fatum and we have Marlo versus Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Drew
Drew versus
versus
Fatum is really like the B story, though. It's like
yes,
who cares? It's
yes,
almost like Drew versus Sonya. Like who cares?
yeah. It's
All of this interesting stuff is happening, and then this is like going on the side, and everyone's like, "Wait, these two again? What are we? Who cares?"
right. I'm not a fan of Drew when she is fighting. I'm not a fan of Drew when she is with Ralph because that usually means she's also fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, like Drew needs to channel a little bit of the woman who brought her onto this show, which was Cynthia Bailey, and
Mm.
try to be better friends with everybody, because
Yeah.
that's what Cynthia did do. She did her best to be, if not friends, friendly
Yeah.
and connect with people. And like Drew just comes out and Drew and her props and her bullshit and oh, so
Yeah.
I'm over the Drew whole situation. But anyway, we get Drew mentioning to Ralph, like, yeah, I think she's coming. And we get Kenya showing up with like a ball of sunshine at 9:04 a.m.
She has her jacket on. She's shimmying in the house. She's dancing. She's knocking on everybody's doors. She's having a great time.
Yeah, she was like, I stayed at my home cabin last night, but Drew and Sonia are both excited that she's
Mm-hmm.
there. And Drew even says, like, Kenya, just I'm hoping you stay here so we don't have another fight with you and Marlow, which like Drew, what about you? But anyway, um Marlow sees Kenya and Kenya's just like, hi. And Marlow goes to give her a hug and Kenya won't, which made me laugh.
Yeah. Kenya's just a mess.
I do respect that though, because like one of my least favorite things is someone who's like fake like
Yeah.
they just got
No,
into it
me
last
too.
night and then you're gonna come up and be like, oh my god, hi, and give her a hug. Like, Marlow, I see what you're trying to do, but like I also respect that Kenya's like, I no, we are just
Right.
having these issues. Absolutely not.
Right.
So Marlowe says that Kenya is not going to spoil her vibe. And she was like, Kenya, when you get a second, can you please come see me in my room? I want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. And didn't she have like a gift for her or something too?
Sonia said that. And I think like the night before,
She
maybe
probably
that,
gave stuff to everybody.
yeah, she was like walking around and said something like, oh, I have something for Kenya if she shows
Mm.
up. And if she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, then like she doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So Sonia and Kenya sit down in the living room and have a conversation. And Sonia's like, so did you bring your bags? And she's like, well, yeah, I have them in my car. And Sonia's like, well, are you staying? And Kenya goes, well, if I can't charge my car, then yes, I'm going to have to
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah.
It's just like she was giving like these answers like this, or I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I was laughing with Kenya this whole
Yeah.
time. So Sonia's like, can you please just go and see Marlo? She has a gift for you. And she's like, I'm not in a rush to go see her. So, in a confessional, Sonia says, like, I don't think Kenya should be here if she doesn't have good energy for Marlo. And Kenya's like, this, it's not just her that Marlo has this kind of energy for, it's everyone, including her nephews. So, let's get a little bit of insight here
Yeah.
where Kenya says, she ran away from her family when her family kicked her out. So it sounds like we know that Kenya and her mom have no relationship.
Yeah. I
And
don't think her mom has ever acknowledged her.
yeah. And I mean, she like what slammed the door in her
Mm-hmm.
face seasons ago when Kenya tried to go see
Yeah.
her. So at one point Kenya was staying with her grandma and her grandma um was kicking her out and was like driving her somewhere to wherever she was like kicking her out to, and Kenya said she just like tucked and rolled out of the car and went and stayed with an ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And like she was like, my family didn't know where I was, and like I didn't care if they didn't know where I was, and because it hurt when them giving up on me and them kicking me out, like here I am not wanted again, and this is what Marlo's doing to her nephews. And Kenya's like, clearly like Marlo doesn't give a fuck about me if she can't even care about her nephews in a way that she needs to.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of Kenya giving us this story? Do you think that it justifies anything? Does it provide some insight for you? Like, where are you at with Kenya in this?
No, I don't think it justifies anything for me. I think I can understand that this is probably triggering for her because
Mm-hmm.
she's been in a similar situation. And I think her and Marlo have very similar, like they've talked both before about coming up in foster care and things like that. Like, you know, they both have similar experiences. I won't say they're the same, but similar, obviously. And I do think that that probably did trigger Kenya, but I also think Kenya is petty. And I think she shouldn't have. She didn't hear the situation about her nephews from Marlo directly. She really shouldn't be commenting on it. She doesn't know what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with Marlo's decision either, to give the kids to her sister. But like, I don't know if I would say that at her trip after getting into it with her last night. It just seemed like she was taking a petty shot.
Yeah, I do think that even if Marlow didn't kick her nephews out and this trip was likely still happening because it's a TV show and there's
Yes.
a chance that Marlow was assigned to schedule a trip somewhere,
Yes.
Kenya's still going to have some sort of issue with her. Um, so I just think that this gives her, at least in her head, a more justified reason to be mad with Marlow. And but regardless, like they don't like each other. They had moments throughout like their Real Housewives history where they've gotten along, but these women are just oil and water. Like they don't mix. It's not great. It should just,
Right.
if we could at least be peaceful versus this constant bickering and yelling at each other, the low blows. I would love that because with this episode, like I said, loved Kenya this episode, but I'm tired. I am
Yeah.
tired of the arguing. So
Yes.
let's put this to rest. Like we don't need any more of it.
Agreed. Agreed.
And Kenya says like Marlo can go and be happy over there, just don't go provoking me.
Yeah. But I don't I feel like Kenya's being the provoker in this situation. I don't know if that's even a word, but I feel like she's the one doing the provoking. She's kind of coming in with this energy, and Marlo's really feels like trying to just have a conversation with her and be like, listen, let's chill for this weekend or whatever. I'm glad you're, who knows if she would say, I'm glad you're here or not, whatever. But like, it felt like the night before she was being more respectful to Kenya than Kenya was being to her. I'm not going to say either one of them was necessarily being respectful to each other, but I feel like Marlo was coming from a more genuine place and Kenya was just being like petty Kenya. And I feel like today, well, not today, I watched the episode today, but in this episode, she was also being petty Kenya, and Marlo felt like she was trying to, feels like Marlo's on this trip to really try and be supported and have a good time and get away. Sort of. I know that's what she's saying that she's there for, but it does kind of feel like that. So I feel like she would want to move forward with Kenya a little bit more, and Kenya was just like not having it.
I think Kenya is an expert. And when I say expert, I mean like elite, like top 1% in the world at doing enough where she can and justifiably like claim innocence in her actions.
Oh, yes.
And then get the more volatile reaction out of the other person. And she does that with Marlo regularly. We saw her do it with Portia time and time again, that she's an expert at it. And she's doing shit like that again right now.
Yes. Which is why she makes an amazing housewife.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really will just come to Marlo having to learn of like, I need to do, I know you're a Seinfeld fan because I see your Instagram stories, but like she needs like a hoochie mama, serenity now type of thing where she needs to like yell out hoochie mama and walk away because it's the same fight over and over. Like no one's going to win this. You've both lost this. Like you are ruined. The other thing is, and we see this later in the episodes, this fight is negatively impacting the people around you. It's no longer between the two of you. Like Marlo's mad that this trip is ruined, but it's just as much Marlo ruining it as Kenya because neither of them will just be like, fuck it, I don't care until it's too late. Like until a trampoline gets involved, I guess, that this happens. So I'm not defending Kenya. I just think that she's so good at poking just far enough that like she knows Marlo's gonna say some fucked up shit, and so Marlo's gonna look worse than her. But Kenya really got her there.
Yeah, she did. She did.
All right, here's a decision that I want to know your opinion on because I have a strong opinion on it.
Okay.
Sonia goes to Sheree and is like, "Yo, Kenya just said all this shit to me," and Sheree is like, "Let's go tell Marlo." Should Sonia have gone and told Marlo all this?
No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
When this was happening, oh man, I was so mad. I'm just like, snitches get stitches. Like you are causing the like this wouldn't have escalated as much if Sonia just kept her fucking mouth shut. Bring it up after the trip.
Or just don't.
Yeah, or don't. Like,
Or
just
just
be
don't.
a friend.
Yeah.
You
This
can
is when you
take
should
in
be like, oof, okay, let's just keep
yeah,
moving.
you
There's
take
no
in the
need.
information. You
Yeah.
don't need to give it back out.
Nothing good could come of this.
No, like, close your mouth. This to me was like, "Oh, I am trying to be mini Sheree," because even Sheree is like, "You're not being a peacekeeper right now. You're being a mini bone collector here."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
oh, this just annoyed me so much because it really did escalate Marlow to there's a chance that her and Kenya could have had like a legit conversation, and maybe not even a legit conversation, but a much like milder conversation than the hour and a half standoff in the driveway that ensued. And so I was annoyed by this. I was incredibly annoyed by this, and it made me lose respect for Sonya. I get that you might be doing this for TV, but it doesn't make me like you anymore.
Right. No, same. I feel like Sonya does a lot for TV, and I really don't like a person like that. I like a person who can come on the show and like naturally just entertain me, and it feels like a lot of this is forced from Sonya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure it has to do with like the relationships and stuff. Like Marlo and Kenya have been doing this
Mm-hmm.
tango for years, and like I understand trying to come in and like how are you going to be able to start shit with Candy? Probably not, because like Candy doesn't.
Yeah, she's not gonna
She,
fight.
yeah, she doesn't really do shit. Like the reasons people are mad at her is because of long-standing relationships that they're annoyed she's not
Mm-hmm.
like fulfilling her end of. So then like you gonna go at each other, or are you just gonna? I mean, you have these two people who are already at odds. It's so much easier just kind of like stir the pot between them. So yeah, I was so annoyed that Sonya was like, "Oh yeah, Kenya. Oh my gosh, I'm listening to everything you say. Like, yeah, I disagree a little bit, but I'm having this conversation with you." And then just basically walks up to Marlo's room and is like, "Listen what Kenya said."
She was kind of doing this whole episode, though. I mean, she feigned as though she was trying to play peacekeeper, but you're right. These relationships go so deep and so far back that, like, Sonya, you're not going to make a dent here. So just like whatever you're trying to do, just stop trying.
Yeah, and so with this, we just get a lot of repeating of like what we've already heard, and the main point is Marlo saying, "I'm not leaving here, and neither are the rest of you until Kenya and I have a one-on-one."
Mm-hmm.
So we go down to breakfast, and I have to say, I wrote this down, and this isn't just true for Atlanta this week. It also just happened in the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip that I just watched. Some of this camera work this week was atrocious. I felt like I was on a fucking boat and needed
Yeah.
Dramamine. Like
Yeah.
I was getting motion sickness. They were like, I don't know, it was shaky. It like wasn't going into focus, and was it just like, oh well, we have to keep this footage in because it has an impact, but we don't care that it looks like shit. I don't know. It happened in Atlanta. It happened in Girls Trip. I was just like, what is going on with these camera crews? It's not
I
great.
didn't notice it. Well, I didn't notice it at breakfast, but obviously when Marlo was like chasing Kenya around the house, obviously
Mm-hmm.
I noticed it.
Yeah. So before we get the chase scene, we get
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a masterclass, some business 101 from Candy. But Kenya says to Sheree, like, "Hey, I know you have a phone call today at 4 p.m." And Sheree's like, "Yeah, I'm putting 1,000% in my clothing line." And we know Candy has a bunch of businesses and a bunch of different, and not just
Mm-hmm.
like in one type of business. She's got restaurants, she has
Yep.
candy coated nights, and
She has the store. What's it called?
there's a store. I don't know.
Yeah, she had it. She was wearing like a camouflage jacket and it had the logo of the store. I forget. I'm gonna look it up.
She's got a lot.
She's got a lot.
But Candy said when she started doing things, she felt like she was doing too much on her own. And one of her friends was the one that kind of like made that light bulb go off in her head. Like, you're trying to run $1 million business on a bootleg budget. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, it is crazy that you have this brand and no product, which is true. Because, like, if you're a fan of Housewives, if you know Sheree, She by Sheree just rolls off your tongue. And she's got
Yeah.
nothing to show for it.
Yeah. And Candy even says, like, you have a bigger brand than any of us. And the boutique is
Mm-hmm.
called Tags. But yeah, she's absolutely right. And she's like, yeah, I feel like even if you are tangentially familiar with the Real Housewives universe, even if you don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know what She by Sheree is. Because it's like a meme almost at this point. But like, it's name recognition. Everybody knows She by Sheree. The same way everybody knows like Who's Gonna Check Me Boo. Like, she has all of these different things. She's like almost like a Nene in that way, where like she transcends the Housewives. Not as much as Nene. Nene is a little more iconic than Sheree.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sheree. But She by Sheree is like up there. Just like Chateau Sheree. I feel like all of these things are so like, they're almost bigger than her.
Yeah, absolutely. And Candy said, like, focus on some small stuff. Like, be successful with some things and then build out
Sell
wider
out what
and
you
bigger.
can post and then use that money to reinvest into your brand.
And this advice, because especially since it's more or less unsolicited, and I know for me, I'm not the biggest on unsolicited advice, but Sheree was like, I love this. This is a woman who is successful. These are my friends. They clearly care about me. They want me to be successful. And they're also like not clowning her for it, because it is very easy to make a joke about She by Sheree. We've had a couple in confessionals, but like nothing that's offensive, more like banter and shit. But they want her to do well. And so it was nice to see this little like, all right, women in business, let's do this. Let's.
And then Drew had to come over and be like, Candy's even a masterclass. Maybe Drew should take a masterclass.
Yeah. Well, she's the face of a weight loss program, so she doesn't need Candy. She's got her business partner, which was like a COVID testing spot 3 weeks before that. So
yeah, Spirit Halloween.
Yeah. After this, Fatum shows up and Drew just like is not happy whatsoever. But we'll have more of that. And now we have Kenya and Marlow. So Marlow's like, hey, Kenya, can you come speak to me before we leave? And Kenya's like, not with that tone. And Candy's like, it is too early for you two to be talking to each other this way. So Kenya just starts like running from Marlow around the house as she's channeling Sonya. She's an Olympic runner running away from Marlow. Like, as annoying as it is between the two of them, that shit cracked me up.
Oh my God, I was dying. I was dying. These women are like no other. I mean, I feel like Marlow approached her pretty reasonably and Kenya was being just straight up like petty.
Yes.
But just her running around the house and Marlow saying like, you want to act 5? I'll treat you like you're 5. Like, I'll just follow you, Kenya. And just like repeating herself. I was just dying.
So these two just start talking over each other. You can't really hear what the other is saying. Kenya makes a comment like, don't insult me and then we can have a conversation. Candy's like, Kenya, you are being difficult. Like,
yes, even Candy had to say like, come on, she's just trying to have a conversation with you, why are you being like this?
Yeah. And Candy says like, you don't like being poked, but here you are poking. Like, stop it if you can't say one thing and do another. So Marlow keeps repeating like, have a safe trip back to Atlanta, Kenya. And Marlow's like, keep my nephews out of anything you're about to say. And Kenya's like, Marlow, you don't have to worry about because Marlow was like, I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna allow them to take my nephews away from me, like insinuating she's gonna physically attack Kenya. And Kenya's like, you don't have to worry about me taking your nephews away because you already got rid of them.
And like, she does keep saying like, get off me or like whatever. And Marlo's like, I've never been violent with you. Like, I've never been violent with you. And she keeps making it seem like I'm going to be violent with her. I've never been violent.
Yep. They continue to go back and forth. And I think Marlow brings up a good point. And she's like, why don't you come here if you don't like me?
Right.
Like, what is the purpose of you being here? Also, I think that Marlow could have taken it a step further, that like, I get inviting everyone, but also if you are doing this for like your peace and shit, then why even allow Kenya to come?
Right.
Hey, Kenya, sit this one out. You know what?
I guess because of the show, but it doesn't make sense that Kenya would be there if we're, trying to think that this is real life and not put on for the show. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is not related, but it is. Is that I saw a TikTok by your favorite Bethany Frankel today. Ugh. And she was giving, I liked it. I mean, I'm not a Bethany fan, but she was giving a little bit of insight and was like, yeah, so I actually used this new like contract clause that they made as my reason to get out. I was kind of like not into it anyway, but I was,
Housewives or a
yeah,
trip?
no, Housewives in general, which is
Oh.
that if you are not in an episode, you will not get paid for that episode. And
Oh.
so I wonder, once I heard that today, because I watched Atlanta last night. So once I heard that today, I was like, oh, I wonder if, like, you don't want to not invite someone on a trip because then you're also fucking with their money. And that gives, like, even more reason for someone to be mad at you than just kind of like grin and bear it.
That's very interesting. I'm very surprised that the main housewives on the show get paid per episode. I would think they would have a season long, like, bulk salary.
I don't know, because I mean, a lot of TV shows do like pay their actors by episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see it like not that summer camp and this are the same thing, but like when I worked at camp, like if I had to like leave 2 days early because I had dodgeball nationals, and so they like took my salary, divided it by whatever, and I think we had like 56 days, so like, and then multiply that by 2 because I was leaving 2 days early and took that much away. So I'm wondering if, like, okay, it's a
Wow.
24 episode season. You're getting paid $1 million for the season. So $1 million divided by 24. You weren't in this episode. We're taking this away, which also
Maybe.
then makes some sense. Remember how Rinna was like, we couldn't just have an episode. Like, she's like not been in a lot. And it seems like they've
But
been
she's getting herself in on FaceTimes and shit.
right. And so
And you
I'm
know
like,
Rinna will do anything for a coin.
right. And so hearing that today, I was like, oh, it's interesting because it, like, I think you actually, not that Marlow and Kenya don't have their reasons to not like each other, but when you then bring in this extra layer of like, if you don't invite me, then I'm not getting paid for maybe two, like if it's the whole trip and they actually didn't get kicked off, like
Mm-hmm.
Marlo didn't make them all go home, that's like maybe 2 episodes that Kenya's not in that she's losing out money for. And then Kenya
Yeah.
has even more of a reason that I think a lot of those women would feel more justified in being like, well, but they're not going to say it on camera.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? But like, your Candy's not gonna, you know,
Oh, no.
like, can you be like, no, don't fuck with people's bag, like that type of
Yes.
thing. So
Yes.
I don't know. Heard that today. It had me doing some thinking. So thank you
That's
for that
interesting.
insight, Bethany Frankel. And but yeah, because up until this, I'm like, why did Marlo even invite her? Just tell her to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Well, let's see, where were we in all this? I lost my spot in my notes.
Well, they're
All this
outside
Times
now in
New
the driveway.
Roman looks the same. Yes, they do get to the driveway. And um oh yeah, because they're sitting in the cars, and so Kenya's in one car, and is her car the first car? So like,
I'm confused about this entire scene. And I was a little bit distracted while I was watching, but I am just confused. Like, why was everybody just sitting there for 2 hours waiting for them to go? Like, I don't understand why they just waited. Like, what was going on? Why? I just don't understand.
I don't think
Obviously, they got into like a fight and then they separated into their cars. But then why didn't they just leave after that?
Marla wouldn't go if Kenya. I think Kenya was in the like the car that was blocking the second car, and so, or it
Okay.
could have just been Marlo being like, "Don't drive this bitch anywhere," you know, like both things
Crazy.
possible. But yeah, they end up sitting out there for an hour and a half, and like Sonia comes up to try to talk to Kenya, and Kenya's like, "I don't understand how you can have an issue with Drew and Sheree the way they were talking to each other, and not have an issue with this," which, like, I don't know if I get the connection.
I can like get it, but I also don't get it because obviously Drew and Sheree were fighting for like no reason, but Kenya and Marlowe, I mean, also kind of fighting for no reason, but they have history. They have
Yeah.
much more history. So it just feels like this is the part where Sonya felt like she was being like a little more genuine, but at the same time, it's like you cannot mend this. This is deeper than anything that you can mend. Like you're a new person. You don't even know them that well.
Well, especially because she is part of the reason that it escalated more than it needed
Exactly.
to.
Exactly.
So there's that in itself. But it looks like they're about to split the two cars up and get people into the cars to go gem mining. And then Drew has to be Drew and be like, well, I'm not getting in a car with this bitch, talking about Fatum.
After like an hour of them waiting.
Yeah, literally like an hour and a half. And then she's like, oh, no. Now it's my turn to pop off. Which, like, shut the fuck up, Drew. No one wants to hear you.
Yeah, nobody.
So, no, they're going at each other in the driveway. Drew continues to call Fatum a lapdog for Sheree.
Katie
which,
was
like,
killing me in these moments too, by the way, just standing far away being like, what are we doing?
Yeah, her and Manetta. Manetta is like,
Mm-hmm.
what children did we bring? Like, aren't we grown-ass women?
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that Candy kind of like has someone on the side being
Yes.
like reasonable with her, because then she
Yeah.
can, like, they can crack jokes together, and it's not just Candy standing there looking like I'm too good for this drama.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, like, to be fair, I think all of them should be too good for this drama, because this was just like absurd. This was
Yeah. In
this
the
was
best way though.
yeah. It's not like, I think any one of them could have gotten caught up in drama like this, but at the same time, it's like, really, we're just not even willing to sit in the same car as each other at the moment.
Right.
And there are two cars. We can easily split this. Kenya, Marlow, split.
Mm-hmm.
Fatum, Drew, split. The rest of you,
very
like,
easy.
2 in one car, 2 in the other. Just 1-2, 1-2 this. Did you ever have to make like teams for kickball in elementary school? Like, shit. This could clearly, none of these people had to like host field trips. So
No,
anyway,
very clearly.
But yeah, it was, at this point, I was tired of the fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have disliked this episode if it wasn't for Kenya's like antics otherwise. But yeah, there's just so much. But
The fighting in Atlanta doesn't get to me the way the fighting on like Ultimate Girls Trip gets to me, because I find Marlow and Kenya very funny. So it's like I can find humor in their fighting, even if they're fighting about something like terrible, like Marlow giving away her nephews or something. I can still laugh because they're just both so over the top, and they make such good TV. Like, it's like they're both being so unreasonable, but they make such good TV that it's like you can laugh because they're funny. They're saying funny things even though they're fighting. Ultimate Girls Trip is just like Dorinda is just being an ugly monster.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can laugh at Vicky fighting because Vicky is also an idiot. But like Dorinda is just so ugly in her words that it's not funny. So I don't find it as exhausting in Atlanta because at least you can like find humor in it.
For me, it's not so much that the like fighting is exhausting. It's just when it spans too many episodes. And like right now, I just feel that, like, what we had the dust up at Drop It with Drew. We had like some pretty like one-sided shade at Sheree's like pajama party from Marlow to Kenya, because Kenya was just drunk having a good time. Like, we've got this, and I'm sure that even like when they were doing the cooking class with Sonia, that it like we now have 4 instances where we're more or less arguing about what the root of this is, that Marlow thinks Kenya was lying about being sick.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even that. It's grown into other shit. Like Kenya saying the stuff about her nephews and that, but like it didn't have to be this way because it was something so minor. And so that's where I hit this, like, for fuck's sake. Just this does not, let's not Beverly Hills this. This does not have to be a season-long argument.
No, that's a good point.
And that's where I get like the one-liners and shit. Give me them all day, but when you like string them together like this, I'm just, can we breathe?
Well, they breathed on the trampoline.
They did, and that's like somehow what brought enough peace for this trip to continue for at least the next like half of a day. So first it's Candy, Manetta, and Fatum, I think, that go to the back and start. I think I wrote in my notes, I was like, who the fuck's that third person? I was like, who is that with them? Fatum? And it was Fatum.
There's so many people on this trip.
Yeah, there's a lot. But that's something I've told you I like about Atlanta, is that like they build their bench deep so that when one leaves, they're able to kind of like, all right, you're promoted, come up to the big leagues. So Those three go back there and start. It's Manetta and Fatum using the trampoline. Candy's like taking pictures and stuff, and then Kenya goes back there with them. She's having her own little photo shoot on there. So, Marlow and Sheree end up going back there, and now here's where I have an issue because we get Marlow and Sheree on the trampoline. Sheree's in a fucking boot.
Well, they're all in boots, aren't they?
No, I mean
foot boot. You're right.
So I noticed it later. I'm like, this bitch is in a boot and she was on a trampoline 10 minutes ago.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even notice that. What I thought was weird about this was that like Kenya was jumping on the trampoline. Marlo was standing right there watching her jump on the trampoline. And like they weren't fight. It was like almost like they were like coexisting just for the sake of like this trampoline. And then Marlo and Sheree jump on the trampoline. And then Kenya's like standing right to the side of it. And I'm like, so we're just putting aside our differences just so you guys can jump on this trampoline and take some pictures. It was so weird. It was like if I were fighting with someone like this, I would be like, I'm not going on the trampoline with this bitch next to me. Yeah. And they were just like chilling, watching each other on the trampoline. It was so weird.
The last thing I'm doing is going on a trampoline with someone that doesn't like me. I cannot tell you how many times, especially like when I was younger, and I'm always the shortest person in the room, but like I'm so much smaller, and my friends would just be like, let's popcorn you, and I'm like flying. Like gravity didn't exist, and I didn't enjoy it. I'm not afraid of heights and shit, but it's just like, oh, this is where I die.
You get seriously injured. I mean, they were smart on this one, kind of smart, I guess, because it was like in the ground, so it's not like you're gonna fall and like crack on the side of it, but you could land on the ground.
Yeah, I remember my friend doing a flip on someone's trampoline and he misjudged it, fell off, and like I saw him break his wrist at this birthday party. Like left, mom brought him to the hospital type shit. And so, but no, I don't want to be on a trampoline with any of my enemies. I want to be near a trampoline with any of my enemies. Like, no, thank you. So, Marlo says that this trampoline jumping experience has allowed her to jump to Jesus. She's fine with Kenya. Somehow, like, gotten the Holy Spirit into her or something. I don't know. There was a lot of Jesus in this week's episodes of Real Housewives, and I'm just like, whew. I like separation of housewives, or like church and housewives, if you will. So, but whatever. It gets them to go gem mining. So we end up at this gem mining place, which like, okay, when they said that they were going gem mining, what were you expecting?
I was expecting them to be in a mine.
Same.
Maybe with like a mini pickaxe, not a big one, like a mini one, going like ding, 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 ding on like a wall, and then like taking a gem off a wall. Yeah, I don't know. I was picturing them in a cave or a mine and going like ding, 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 and taking something off of a wall. I don't know why that's what I was picturing.
No, I was picturing the exact same thing. So
I think it was like who went mining recently? Gina and Emily?
Yeah, they went in that like cave thing, and then like the next day brought back like Diet Cokes and like energy bars as like as like a peace offering to the ghost in the cave.
That's what I was picturing, something like that.
Yeah, same. So when they show up and it's like, here's a bucket and we put some rocks in it for you. Just pour this sand into this like colander, and then but you gotta hold it a certain way, otherwise you won't see the like. This was something you bring your 3-year-old to.
Yeah, this was the jankiest shit I've ever seen.
We had 8 women doing this, and
with this very clearly racist man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, no question, this guy was like a secret KKK member, allegedly. I don't want this guy to hear us and sue, but like, come on.
I have no money, so if you're suing, please.
Yeah, come on.
Like, no, I mean, they walk in and there's a Trump 2024
this
sign.
Was the funniest part of this episode to me. The way they focused on this Trump 2024 sign, and then Kenya's just like, oh, sir, I disturbed your Trump sign. And then she just goes and hands it to, like, she clearly took it off the wall. That was killing me.
Good on Kenya.
Good on Kenya. And then she's like, I was just tidying up the place.
Yes. But overall, I mean, I don't have anything to say about the actual gem mining besides what I already have. The only thing that really comes up is like they go to sit down and Fatum and Drew end up sitting across from each other. And so Drew gets up like the petty little bitch he is. And Fatum is like yelling at her to sit down. which Fatum just needs to let it go. If I feel like
Fatum is trying a little too hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also so is Drew.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them are.
I could talk about how this guy is clearly racist for 45 minutes, but I won't. But I just want to put a little more emphasis on how obviously racist and uncomfortable around these 8 Black women this man was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have anything else to say, but it was palpable. You could feel it.
I mean, I really don't think you need to say anything else besides the fact that he had a Trump 2024.
A wooden. Sign. It wasn't even it wasn't paper. Even it was handcrafted out of wood.
It's someone made this for him.
He probably made it.
Maybe.
It's probably a labor of love for this man.
2024, not even Trump 2020. This is Trump the next presidential. He's already lost one, and this dude has a sign for the next one.
He's over the edge. This guy.
The only thing I will.
Where was this man on January 6th?
Yeah, he was mining gems. Okay.
He was mining gems off the Capitol wall.
The only thing I'll say is that if you're gonna have that sign, at least you don't make it a bumper sticker. I never understand the people who put political stuff, not political bumper stickers, but people who are up for election on their car. I still drive by Hillary 2016.
I always feel bad for these people. I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Get a magnet.
If it was someone that lost, I'm like, ooh, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah.
Not great.
Get a magnet instead, or a t-shirt, or maybe a wooden sign to hang up in your store.
Yeah, have this man at the gem mining place make you a handcrafted wooden sign.
I mean, but his is more of a rooting interest at this point, because it isn't Trump 2020, it's Trump 2024.
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. All right, so after gem mining, they go back to the house, and Marlow is in her room. She starts packing her stuff up, and I think, was it Sheree? Yeah, Sheree went into the room to talk to her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm over this trip. I need to leave. I just can't do this. I regret inviting Kenya. She's been a dark cloud. She's also not happy that Fatum and Drew are acting the way they are." And she's like, "I booked this trip for me to heal and be surrounded by women who support me, and none of that is happening. I am more tired than when I got here." Yeah, and that's the thing. If you need to go and heal, make this a you and Sheree. Sheree needs to heal too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bring Sheree and I don't know, maybe Candy.
Pretty even. Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is there? I guess
know. Sonia, but
I guess you could even if it's just the 3 of them, make it a smaller trip, because the 8 women, even at your best, is draining. I'm in a 10 person group chat, and I want to leave it every day. I don't know how I'm still. I know why I'm still in there. It's because I teach these people how to. Never mind. We're not going to get into that. But to live with 8 women for 3 days on a trip, and it's all these. Yeah, no. What were you expecting, Marlow?
I don't know.
But she asked Sheree to go gather everybody up, so Sheree does. They go and sit in the living room, and Marlow's like, "I wanted this trip to recharge, but I am worse. I'm worse than when I left Atlanta, and I just want everybody to respect each other and have a good time," which they're not. Fatum apologizes to Marlow for not being the bigger person, but then also throws shade at Drew. So naturally, Drew responds back, because Drew doesn't need an invitation to respond back. She'll talk shit to a wall if she thinks that this wall has insulted her. Mm-hmm. And this bitch throws a dog bone at her for her and her props. They're so bad. They're so bad. She brought a dog bone.
She sure did.
I know, Nitro, you want a dog bone, but we're talking about a dog bone that you can't have. And someone was like, "Does she doesn't even have a dog?"
Yes, that was funny. She's like, "I know she has 15 assistants and a bunch of kids." She's like, "But she does not have a dog."
So she went and bought a dog bone to be able to throw at Fatum on this trip.
Yep.
I hate her.
I hate her. Laugh a little bit.
Oh, you see, okay. Well, first of all, Nitro is really working about this. Hey, who are you barking at, buddy? I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't watch the end of last season, correct?
No.
Okay, so hold on. I just scared him. I yelled, "Hey," really loudly. Stop it. We're fine. He's been on one all day. He's been a loud dog. But so here's why I'm not as amused as maybe I would be if it was the first time, because last year at the end of the season, they did a Secret Santa, and you were a white elephant, actually. I don't want to be Dorinda and say we're doing a Secret Santa, but it's actually a white elephant.
Yes.
A white elephant gift exchange, and the women were supposed to spend $1,000 on their gift. So everybody involved brings like nice gifts, like all of them. Drew brings in like 3 fucking big boxes, like almost a big box, a medium box, a small box, right? And I think Kenya gets stuck taking her gift.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty positive it was Kenya, because those two didn't get along last season.
Yes.
And she opens the box, and the wig that, or I almost called her Eva, not Eva. Drew was saying her bundle specifically. The one that Kenya made fun of. No, or was it Kenya's friend that she was like heavily flirting with last season? I can't remember her name, but one of the two of them got it, and it was like the wig that they were making fun of almost all season. She put that in the box as her gift and was like, well, this cost me $1,000. So like everybody else like very much took this sincerely, nicely, or whatever, and then like no one thought that she was being funny or witty. So like to see, oh, here she is again, like, did you not learn from your failed attempt at like having a gag, a prop, whatever, like not work, for you to pull this? So when I saw it, was just like, bitch, did you like, why did you not learn? Like, what are we doing? I'm tired of you. I am tired. You had like one good episode this season. It was when you helped set up Sheree's like get over Tyrone party. Otherwise, you have not provided me any positivity. And if I was, what's her name, the joy person, like get rid of it if it doesn't bring you joy. I want to get rid of you. Marie Kondo or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I just feel like she's there to kind of just be a clown, Drew. And they kind of just like make her look like a clown in the edit. Like she does not get a favorable edit whatsoever. I'm sure there are scenes of her not being insufferable, but they just like make her look like a clown.
Yeah. I'm over her. So after this bone gets thrown, Marlow's like, you know what? I need this to be about Marlow, and it's not. So I've called you all cars. You're all leaving. Get out. And then you get confessionals of a few of them being like, I've never been kicked out of anywhere before, much less a trip. Like Candy's like, this is the first time for me. Sally is the first time for me. And Marlow wanted to be about her, but once Kenya showed up, it was not about her anymore. And so that's where our episode ends.
Yes. I think it's hilarious that she wasn't like, I'm going to leave and go home. You guys stay and finish your trip. She's just like, you all need to get out, which is very funny. But I don't really blame her, because she's like, I came here to be supported and no one supported me, and they're still fighting. Even Sheree is like, stop, like telling her friend, like, why are you starting right now? So yeah, this was a mess. This episode was really cracking me up though. Like I was laughing very hard. And my partner Matt came out when Marlow was kicking everybody out. And I was like, I know there are some people who don't like Marlow, but she is hilarious. And I don't understand how it took her so long to get full-time status, because she is driving the season forward and she's hilarious.
It's probably because of Nene, that like one of the biggest reasons it took her so long. But
probably.
Yeah, I tweeted something where I'm like, this bitch gets a peach and now she's like kicking everybody out of the cast trip.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it.
So yeah, that's where we leave the episode. I'm interested to see what happens next week, but I'm cool if like drama ensues from Marlow kicking them out. I just want the Kenya Marlow especially drama to reach a like we just won't acknowledge each other's existence. Like talk shit behind each other's back. I don't care, but I just don't need the every episode confrontation at this point.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Anything else you want to say about Atlanta? Because I think this was our best episode of the week. So
definitely our best episode of the week. No, I think we covered it. This
All
season,
right.
I enjoy. I feel like not a lot has happened, but I've been enjoying it. I may have said that already, but I will say it again. Not a ton has happened, but I enjoy these ladies interacting with each other, and they make me laugh. So I like spending an hour a week with them.
Yeah, and I think that's like something that Atlanta brings that some of the other franchises don't, or cities
None
don't.
of the
Is
other
that
franchises. Potomac does.
yeah. Is that like they don't need a lot to happen. And again, it's because you have these deep-rooted relationships, but it to an extent is like an over dramatized friend group where you have your like everybody ebbs and flows in their relationships with each other. There's someone that you like, and then all of a sudden someone's a dick, and like it changes, right? We get that with them, and you don't need something major. You don't need Erica Jane to get arrested on this. You don't like need Jen Shaw to get arrested on this. Like their natural interactions and relationship are entertaining enough to carry it, and a lot of the other ones don't have that.
I actually feel like Jen Shaw is a good example of someone who can do a lot of nothing but also still be entertaining and make me laugh. Like, well, I don't want to like Jen Shaw.
Hopefully she can do that for herself in jail for 14 years.
I hope so too. But I just think, watching those seasons, I feel like Lisa Barlow is just like a caricature of a human. Like, some of them are boring on that. Even Mary Cosby, is that even her name? I don't know. She was scary, but she was funny. So I think Salt Lake City is actually one of those seasons one of those casts that kind of like not a lot can happen, but they can also be funny. I just feel like we were overloaded with like every episode last week was just like insanity.
How dare you say that someone who loves Taco Bell as much as Lisa Barlow does is not a real person?
I mean, I do too, so I get her. It's my Twitter header. I love Taco Bell and I love fine dining.
I couldn't say that without laughing. Like I really tried to.
That's the most relatable thing any housewife has ever said, in my opinion.
Listen, I love a good Crunchwrap Supreme and cheesy Fiesta potatoes, so that's my go-to order. Yep, absolutely. Please. I will do the dumbest ads for you. Like I'll
do
say
anything Taco Bell asks me to do. Literally anything Taco Bell asks me to do, I will do it. I
will have no moral standards. Anything.
No, I'm in your service, Taco Bell. Whatever you want from me, I will do it.
I'll cut this clip and tweet at them. So.
Perfect.
All right, let's get into our Beverly Hills episode. So we have a FaceTime at the beginning that gives us some vital information between Dorit and Lisa, which is that Lisa, Erica, and Garcelle have all tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
So these three on the bench for a little while this episode. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but did you see like Dorit's phone, more specifically like the glittery thing at the bottom of it that she was holding?
Yes. What was that?
I don't know.
It was like a battery charger or something?
Maybe. Oh, that would make some sense. Is it like something that's specifically to make FaceTiming easier? Because
I remember we saw Kyle up with their hand in the sky.
Oh my God.
Up. These ladies take their FaceTime seriously.
My students made fun of me. Well, okay, so this was after I stopped teaching, but I went to one of the kids' graduation parties because she was like, I was super close with her through all 4 years of high school. And so I like made fun of a couple of the kids. Well, one of them was like, oh yeah, well, you have a pop socket. Like, are you still in 2016? And I was like,
I have a pop socket.
First of all, I got baby hands. So holding my phone is hard. I have an indent in my pinky from my cell phone resting on it. This is like
the pinky is like the worst. The feeling on your pinky when your phone, and the phones are huge. I'm sorry, phones are huge.
Keep getting bigger. Hands. Yeah, exactly. I was like, so this isn't for looks. This is for practicality. So you shut your mouth. And so that's what I just want to know is like, is her thing for practicality? If it is, like, I just want to know what it is. What were you holding, Dorit? That's all.
Right. Well, for the probably very few overlapping people on the podcast, mine is a Anakin Skywalker Padawan Anakin. So before he's a Jedi, which is like the worst Anakin that you could ever have. And it's also from Obi-Wan where he's like playing a younger version of himself, but they didn't de-age him. So it's really just a joke. But just wanted to let everybody know what my pop socket is. Ordered it specifically to make it a joke, and no one laughs at it. Then I feel like it's a failed joke, and it really makes me upset.
It's a joke for you. I'm a big believer in like anything that I say that like I think is funny is for me. And if anybody else laughs at it or like it gets a like on Twitter or whatever, like that's just
it's a
bonus.
Yeah,
truly. I'm here to entertain me. I gotta be with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like I gotta find me funny. And if anybody else does, like thanks. But right now, my jokes are for me.
Yes. Totally.
So anyway, now that we agree that it's probably a battery charger that also makes FaceTiming easier, let's go to Kyle's house. So Jamie Lee Curtis shows up, and I was offended because it said Jamie Lee Curtis and then underneath Kyle's friend, where it really should just say like Kyle Richards. That's her last name? Did I just make that up? Kyle Richards, no. Jamie Lee Curtis's friend. You know what I mean? Like, let's switch that in the bottom
would even
third.
say Jamie Lee Curtis's co-worker?
Acquaintance.
Made a cameo in a Jamie Lee Curtis movie. I mean, like, I wouldn't put them on the same level.
Yeah, well, supposedly they're friends, but whatever. So, Jamie Lee Curtis said that she isn't here for her house or for her whatever. I can't remember the other thing she listed, but she said, I'm here for your heart. To which I was like, in all capital letters, it sucks, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like,
yeah, what heart?
But then I did have a moment like, is it Jamie Lee? But then she introduced herself as Jamie. So I'm going to call her Jamie. But I did in this moment write Jamie Lee? Jamie? I don't know. In my notes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Would she go by JL?
Oh. I don't know if I would want JL.
JLC?
It almost sounds like jail.
Yep.
So JLC. See, JLC could be okay. But JL is... All right, anyway, so she did introduce herself to one of the housewives as Jamie, so I'm going to call her Jamie. But they set up for the charity lunch, and we get Diana, Dorit, Sutton. Is that it?
Diana, Dorit,
Crystal.
Cherie.
Oh, and Cherie. I didn't write down who came. I was, like, reading my notes for what happened. Yeah, so we get them showing up because, again, like, 3/8 of the cast has COVID at this moment. So Diana shows up immediately, not in the mood for Sutton. Surprise, surprise. And so we're like, oh, Dorit is acting very starstruck with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Dorit is like, part of me is like embarrassed for her, but then the other part of me is like, everybody should be acting like this in front of Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, I guess it's appropriate the way she's acting because like this is I would say Jamie Lee Curtis is A-list, right?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely like is past her prime and peak, but like our generation saw her in shit. What one was she in with Lindsay Lohan? Freaky Friday?
Yes.
So
yes,
like that's where I most know her from. But she's acted for the last however many years. Like
forever.
Almost everyone has seen a movie with Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Yeah,
and like you say that if you were to just like drop the name, people probably know she's an actress. Like I would say a decent.
I feel like anybody knows who she is.
I don't know. I see some dumb people on TikTok that like I can't give everyone I can't use the word always or everyone. So, but yeah, Dorit is acting like she's never met a celebrity before. Even though Boy George like lives in her house. Right. She's sitting there like pinching her skin. I don't know. It was a little over the top for me.
Way over the top. But I also feel like, I'm like, okay. Well, I didn't like that the other ladies were like, oh, hi. Like it was no big deal. I'm like, we needed a balance of like, oh my God, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Because like I would be like, oh my God, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. She goes by Jamie. She goes by JL. Oh my God, that's JLC. Oh my God. So I liked Kyle's teddy bear sweater, which bothers me to say because I hate Kyle and everything about her, except I did like her outfit. I didn't even notice it. Oh, I liked it. I, full disclosure, downloaded a new phone game like 2 days ago. So I was like playing and taking notes. It's not even like a good game. It's just, I'm very Most of them aren't, but sometimes they just get you.
Yeah, like 48 to 72 hours usually, and then if it makes that like past that, then like, but so I was definitely like clicking on that while also watching this during my lunch hour today. So I did not notice her outfit. I noticed more of the outfits later on at Diana's Christmas party because everybody was sparkling. And I don't mean that in like a, oh my God, you look glamorous. Like they were literally sparkling. So
Yes.
but when we are still, or use your words better, Kari, we are at the charity lunch sale. So people go to sit down, and like Diana and Sutton were supposed to sit next to each other, and Diana just like switches her seat.
Yeah. I mean, this was stupid of Kyle to even put them next to each other anyway. She's like, Diana can go here and Sutton can go here.
Yeah. It's not like you didn't have the ability to like switch them or like put them in different places.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, well, there's all these other conflicts happening at the same time. Like, no, this is the conflict.
The only one.
Let's put them together and try to do some peacekeeping in front of JLC here. And Jamie Lee Curtis was just like, oh, so that's how this is? I think
she said, like, I'm learning a lot.
Yes, here. She did. Mm-hmm. The other reaction out of Jamie Lee Curtis that we got was when Sutton was trying to help Cherie glue her eyelashes back on.
This was crazy to me. This was a crazy thing. Like, first of all, no one's coming near my eye with glue.
Right.
I would just excuse myself and go to the bathroom and fix it myself.
Yep. Yeah, especially like, I don't know if Sutton uses fake eyelashes or not, but it's one thing to do something for yourself. It's another thing to be able to do it for someone else. Like, I don't know. I think of like French braids. I know that there's people who can like French braid their own hair, and there's people who can only French braid other people's hair. And to me, I feel like fake eyelashes have a similar energy to them.
Yes. I also wouldn't make someone put eyelash glue on my face at a table. Yeah. In front of Jamie Lee Curtis, in front of JLC.
Plus, like, they're wearing expensive clothes and stuff.
Yeah, like, no. At least come to the bathroom with me.
Yeah. And I would think that Cherie is capable of doing that by herself. I don't know. That whole thing was weird. That was weird. But that was, like, the only thing that really happened at the lunch until Jamie Lee Curtis starts showing all the items in these, like, bags that she brought for everyone. And Dorit was acting like she was at, I don't know, New York Fashion Week with each different look that came out.
And she sure was.
Let's see. So I didn't even. Oh, the chicest wind chime. Oh, the tumbler. She's like, does it keep things hot and cold? Amazing.
There was a dog leash.
Yes. She's like, stop it right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought this was really funny because Dorit is just such like an over the top like loser that I was just like, of course, like everybody's just like looking around being like, is this girl for real? It was just very funny.
I literally wrote in 3 different lines in this section that I hate Dorit. So I hate Dorit. Dorit keeps calling everything chic and I hate her.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh because she's just such a fool.
Yeah, it was just like, it was almost like little sister annoying type of thing. I'm like, okay, shut up. Like, I'm trying to hang out with my cool friends and you keep trying to say things like, stop trying to make fetch happen type of shit.
Yeah.
So at the end of Jamie Lee Curtis doing her like showcasing of these items and Dorit calling all of them chic, Kyle says like, hey, I'm donating $25,000 to our fund for this children's hospital. And Diana's like, I'm going to match that. So they end up with $50,000 for the children's hospital. So I guess this lunch was worth it.
Yeah, I guess so.
If Kyle wants to host a lunch for me and donate $25,000, I'll come over.
Yes. I don't like this with Diana. I feel like they're already sucking up to her because of the money. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of like season 1 when like Kyle had to be friends with Camille and had to be friends with Adrian because of like Mauricio's business. Mm-hmm. Like this gives me like, oh, I have to be on Diana's side now because she donated $25,000 or whatever to this charity. And like, I just feel like it just adds like an extra layer where it just becomes even more disingenuous than it was before. Because like it's obviously not genuine now. It's just I just don't like it.
What does she do for work besides be on this show?
Well, allegedly, we know that she is a madam.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Other than that, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, just wondering. It's like
Yeah. Other than that, could not tell
$25,000
you.
is a lot. All right. So after this, the women split into two groups. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis leaves. She's like, "You are not catching me getting involved in this shit. I know what's gonna go down. I'm out. Peace."
Yeah. Yeah.
So we get Cherie, Sutton, and Dorit. Sutton says the lunch with Diana didn't go great, and Cherie asks why is Sutton always in trouble. And Sutton's like, "I'm just gonna be quiet." And
Mm-hmm.
Cherie doing a great job here. Thank you, Cherie, being like, okay, well, if you were to question me at my lowest, I'm not going to take it well, which I think she had a great point.
I think she had a great point as well. I do.
At least providing some perspective in a way that's like different than I feel like anyone else has for her, where she isn't saying like what you did is wrong. However, I think you are emotionally intelligent enough to understand that you doing this is going to have a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But Sutton doesn't. Sutton just like always has to defend herself.
Right.
And so here she is just being like, well, she questioned me about one of my lowest moments, but like this was very recent for Diana, and whenever yours was like that, and that's the point that Cherie's trying to make. Like she's in it right now. She's at
Yeah.
like that valley. You are not currently in that
Yeah.
valley. You don't have to question her. And Dorit's like, or and Sutton said, like, I didn't even question her. And Dorit's like, yes, you did by asking, like, aren't you supposed to be on bed rest? Like, that is questioning her. And Sutton's like, yeah, but she really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
It's conversations like this with Sutton that, like, I probably go, she's probably like my most tumultuous relationship
Yeah.
on Beverly Hills because there's times where I'm like, yes, Sutton, awesome, thank you. And there's other times where I'm just like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I think having Cherie say it gives us more perspective because Diana is so unlikable. Like she is like I find her like volatile to watch on TV. Like I can't even like she makes me want to crawl out of my skin. Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to be on her side because I just can't. Yeah. There's something about her that just like I just can't look at on TV. I just can't. She creeps me out. But Cherie, I'm like, oh, she's Garcelle's friend. I love Garcelle. She's funny. She's been on the show. She feels like she has a good personality. And then I'm like, oh, she's actually making sense. And Sutton is an asshole. But I cannot take it in from Diana because I will always choose Sutton over Diana because that's how much I dislike Diana. But when someone I like says like, no, you were an asshole, I'm like, oh no, she was an asshole. That's right. It's just I hate Diana so much that I can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah, no, you have such a great point in saying that. Absolutely. The other three women are in a different part of the house.
Which is weird, by the way.
Yeah, they just kind of like split that way. But we have Kyle, Diana, and Crystal. And Crystal, the day before, had posted about her eating disorder. And Crystal says that, like, yeah, it's just about this feeling of like having control, and it's an internal feeling that kind of like triggers it. And like holidays, for example, because they're stressful, there could be a lot going on. Like she thinks that could be a reason. So we get a little insight with what Crystal's going through, and then Kyle just like goes straight for it and is like, "Oh, so are you binge eating?" And Crystal's like, "No, I don't binge eat." And then Kyle asks like, "Oh, so you eat very little and then you throw up what you ate?" And Crystal's just like, wow, you are really asking the questions here, Kyle.
Yep.
What did you think of Kyle's approach to this one?
So this to me, and I saw some people saying this on social media, and I agree. I'm not going to take this as my own thought, but like this to me feels a lot like Kyle kind of making it about herself, the same way that Sutton was kind of making it about herself when she was talking to Diana. But Diana was sitting in the conversation, didn't seem to mind when it was being done to Crystal. Just a thought. I don't know. It seemed weird to me how like blunt. I guess again, like like Sutton, she was trying to relate to Crystal, but I don't feel like Kyle and Crystal have that relationship. Kyle obviously does not like Crystal. The same way Sutton obviously doesn't like Diana. So it all just feels, everything in Beverly Hills feels disingenuous to me. Everything.
Yeah. I think the only thing Kyle has going for is I believe that they've talked about it before. So
Yeah, probably.
it's not like it's not like a later conversation where Erica is talking to Crystal, but yeah, I mean, that would be like I guess like maybe the connection, but still, it's just I'm at a point with Kyle this season, especially where it's like I wish he would just shut up and
Right.
just kind of like, as opposed to asking her method of having an eating disorder, maybe like talk to her about her feelings or whatever. Like she doesn't need to put on blast, because then the other part of it is, and I don't know if you noticed this, but like 2 or 3 times before this conversation, Crystal's like, "Oh my god, that food was so good. That food was so good." And then like
Mm-hmm.
that is something that someone with an eating disorder like tries to make it seem like, "Oh my gosh, I ate all of this," and like
Yeah.
yeah, and so um like why don't we don't need to sit here and dissect the way that this happens to her. Like, why don't we talk
Right.
about the why? How is she doing? Does she need support? Do you want help? Because like by by saying like, oh yeah, so you eat very little then throw it up, like now Diana, now Kyle are watching Crystal. And even if they're not watching Crystal their next meal, Crystal thinks that they're watching Crystal at
Yeah,
the next meal.
absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I just think you're right. It should just be coming from a place of like, hey, I know we've had this conversation before. I know where you're coming from here. If you need someone to talk to, like, I'm here. I've been there. I get it. You don't have to like dig into every little nitty gritty detail of like, so how do you do it? And like, how often do you do it? And what's your method? And blah, blah. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of how Kyle did
Mm-mm.
this. And
I'm not a fan of how Kyle does literally anything other than her teddy bear sweater.
yeah, that's really it. And her dog stealing food. Bring back the
Yes.
dogs. We haven't seen them in a little
Yeah.
while.
Bring back the dogs.
So Kyle says that she sees the social media post as a cry for help, and she hopes that Crystal will also seek professional help in this. But we do get like a little bit more emotion from Crystal in her saying that like being in her body every day sucks, and she like wants to eat a meal and be okay with it and not hate what she's eating every day. And the most important thing is that like her kids don't suffer or like have anything similar to what she's experienced, and it's a lot to shoulder.
It is a lot to shoulder, and it has to be so hard being in the public eye because just like in general, diet culture, I feel like seeps in everywhere you are. It's either like, oh, have this tea that makes you shit yourself, or like, I look at these people on Instagram that are like super, super thin and unhealthy, and their pictures are edited. Not unhealthy, like mentally unhealthy, because their pictures are edited and it's making you feel unhealthy. Like, it's just like, it's really hard to avoid. So I feel like as a normal person, as a civilian, not on television,
Mm-hmm.
so it's hard to imagine it as someone who's in the public eye and is constantly probably getting comments that are terrible and people nitpicking every single possible thing that could possibly be nitpicked. And it's hard, I would imagine, to not let that seep into your actual life. I mean, we saw it with Jackie in New Jersey too. It's hard.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok recently that I thought was interesting. Um, it was a mom who was like, my son had his friends over, my daughter had her friends over. They were all just kind of like hanging around in the living room together. They're all teenagers. And she comes out and is like, "Hey, so are you guys hungry? Can I like get you anything to eat?" And the boys are all just like, "I'm hungry." And the girls, like, you see them all kind of like looking at each other and like, is she hungry? If she's hungry, I can be hungry. And like,
Right.
how it's kind of just, and I mean, it happens like when I hate when I'm like out to a dinner or something and like it's 3 of us and like the 2 people order salad. I'm like, bro, I just want to get like a triple decker
No,
cheeseburger with
same.
fries. Like, come on. And then you have that, like, it's almost like a guilt. And it's like, why do I feel guilty? And it's because of this whole culture and shit. And like, here's just little me who has like 6 friends. I can't imagine like being Crystal, who's on TV once a week and has all these pictures of her and everything. And like, yeah, that sucks that she feels that way. I hope I hope that whatever she needs happens for her in terms of feeling more comfortable with it. Get that triple checker cheeseburger with fries, because I still will anyway. So we get back to a room where all the women are now sitting together, and Kyle's like, what were you talking about while we were in the other room? Kyle, shut the fuck up. They can have a conversation that you don't need to know about, but
I can't.
Producer Kyle. So Dorit was like, we were talking about Sun and Diana's lunch, obviously, and Diana here just like so, I don't know, not elementary, like middle school of her, just like awkward. Like,
yeah.
What type of never mind. It's not even worth our time.
No.
So Sun's like, I don't think Diana's ready to accept anything, much less an apology. And Diana's like, you're right. And Kyle's like, what do you mean accept anything? She's like, I don't even think she's ready to ponder a relationship or a friendship at all. So Diana goes into it a little bit where she's like, I went to Mexico and I probably shouldn't have, because I should have been resting. I thought it'd be good for me, but I had tequila, which is a blood thinner. But then didn't they like show that she didn't order tequila?
I don't know. They showed like a shady thing of her being like, "Oh, I'm so tired," and then Dorit saying like, "Oh, what can?" I think it was Dorit saying like, "What can we do?" And she's like, "More wine or something." So it was like, I don't know. It almost felt like they were trying to show something like against her, but I didn't really get what they were going for with that clip.
Yeah, same. So Diana was just like, I was trying my best, and I like the trip caused me to start bleeding again, and I sent a rude message in the group chat and I shouldn't have, but like I'm just trying my best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it was kind of like a whole weird explanation. But then Kyle's like, I didn't realize your miscarriage was only 2 months ago. I thought it was like a while ago. And Diana says that Sun should have known not to talk to Diana like that. But if Kyle, the nosiest fucking person in the group, didn't know that her thing was 2 months ago, then like how Sun's supposed to. But also Sun just like, when the whole bed resting, Sun didn't need to say anything about it. Like that wasn't her fight. So Sun says, I take responsibility for like 95% of the things that are wrong with this relationship, this rocky start. It's on me. And Diana, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. And they kind of do a weird, like, I don't know, they did like a weird hand gesture. It was almost like
it was like a timeout, like a mini timeout. Like I
don't know.
Instead of going like a.
Yeah, they did like the. I mean, if you're not watching the video, you're not getting what we're doing. But essentially, they made like a T with their pointer fingers, but their own pointer fingers. I don't know, whatever. It was weird. But I wrote, please let this be the end of this in capital letters at the end of the section.
Please.
I think there's a chance.
I can't anymore.
So after this, we get Elisa and Erica FaceTime, and they're talking about how they both have difficult situations going on, and they just try to make the best of each day. But this day, a LA Magazine article came out, and Erica's saying like it's the same stuff from last year, and the thing that she found offensive was that like they tried to insult her by calling her ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I didn't read this article. I don't know.
Neither did I.
What the slant actually was, but just reporting to you what Erica said. And then she said that she talked to Tom recently. Tom Girardi called her when she had COVID, and she says there's times she talks to him and he knows who she is, and there's times she talks to him and he doesn't know who she is. And she's like, I saw this happen with my grandma. Like, it only gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
So she also said that Tom's brother is representing him in their divorce because he likely can't pay the previous divorce lawyer.
Well, I think he's his conservator.
Also makes sense.
Yeah.
And that Erica can't/won't get a divorce because she'll end up having to pay Tom alimony.
Yeah, God forbid Erica pays him any fucking money after he's been, not that I'm defending Tom Girardi, but he's been funding her entire life for however many years. But yeah, no, we can't pay him alimony.
Yeah. After
Not that
that,
neither one of them deserves a thing, is all I'm trying to say here.
money can't buy you class.
No.
So Diana, we go to Diana's house. She's prepping for the Christmas party she's about to have, and she says that she didn't celebrate Christmas in Yugoslavia. She didn't get to celebrate until London, but I saw somewhere on Reddit that someone was like, "We celebrate Christmas in Yugoslavia." So just
Yeah, I think they celebrate Christmas basically everywhere. It just matters what religion you are.
yeah. So anyway, just threw that in there. But otherwise, I don't have anything to say about this portion of the show.
Nope.
Cool. So now we have Kathy and Kyle. Kyle goes to Kathy Hilton's house to visit. And Kathy tells Kyle that she's impossible to get a hold of. And Kyle's like, wait a second. I've texted you. I've called you. You don't return them. And even in that moment, Kathy didn't even know where her phone was.
Yeah, she's like out of touch with. She's also out of touch with reality. Like Diana's out of touch with reality, but she's like funnier about it.
Yeah. And it also helps that like there's previous connections to Kathy because like we grew up seeing Paris Hilton in her heyday and everything. And it's funny, the episode of Housewives I was watching while I was eating my microwave pizza was Danielle Straub being like, "Oh yeah, I learned this trick from Paris Hilton. You talk on your phone, it makes them mad." and, which was funny because it came up in a previous Beverly Hills episode where Kyle's like, "Yeah, Paris was so uncomfortable that she would like use her
Garcelle
phone."
said it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, because Garcelle was like, she is always on her phone, and she's like, yeah, she says like a crutch because she was like so anxious around people. So I just thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, so Kyle even like takes out the phone and calls her and is like, look, it doesn't ring, and goes straight to voicemail.
So does that mean Kathy blocked Kyle's number? Is this what's happening here?
Did Kathy get a new number? Did she block her? I think she could have blocked her. We don't know.
I would block her, so I don't blame her.
But Kathy says like, yeah, I haven't checked into voicemail in 3 years, but she probably hasn't had her phone in her hand in 3 years because Kyle made a comment like she'll get a message back from Kathy being like, oh, I'm on my iPad, call me. On Instagram, she'll like comment it on Instagram.
And we've seen, I mean, it's like very public that she does this.
So we have this whole phone being in contact debacle, and then they get served their lunch, which is a baked potato with caviar. What?
This wasn't that surprising to me.
Is that a thing?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I just assume, yeah, it's a thing. Because I don't eat caviar because I'm not a rich person. So, also, I can't imagine caviar tastes good.
I mean, people love it, so I feel like it has to taste good. Is it normal to put caviar on a baked potato? Oh, baked potato with caviar. Quite a few recipes for it. I guess it's somewhat normal. All right. I thought it was just Kathy being weird, but...
How to make the world's most hype baked potato.
I love baked potatoes. So
do I.
I used to eat a lot of baked potatoes as a child. I still eat a fair amount now. As I think you know. Oh, yeah, because we both are followed by Barack Obama, right? Yeah, it's one of our many commonalities. And I tried not to tweet him and abuse, like, my privilege.
Yeah, I've never tweeted him.
Oh, I have 2 or 3 times. And one of them was when the Wendy's down the street from my parents' house got rid of the broccoli and cheese baked potato. And I was like, yo, Barack, like,
gotta
help
get
me out.
Obama on this.
Michelle is in favor of nutrition, and that's like one of the most nutritious things you could get off that menu, and it is gone. Like, help me. He didn't reply, but I did ask Barack Obama on Twitter to help me.
That's pretty amazing.
Get this back. So I actually probably have like better chances now of getting Barack Obama because
probably.
The restaurant that my partner used to work at, the chef, he just won like the James Beard Award, but like he's boys with Barack Obama. Like,
oh, then you could definitely get him to bring the baked potato back.
I definitely like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Like, I'm probably like 3 degrees away from Barack Obama.
That's pretty wild.
Like, if Chef Eric were to have like a holiday party, I would say that there's a chance that my partner is invited, and there is a chance that Barack Obama is also invited, which would mean that we could be in the same room. Like he like does, like, if Barack has like private events, a lot of the times like he does the cooking and catering and stuff for them.
wow.
So like one of the nights I was there to pick up Lavelle, one of the servers came back and he was like, yeah, I just did like the private party, and like Michelle Obama came up and like touched my shoulder and was just like so nice to him and everything. And I'm like, that's my dream. Like,
yeah, that's wild.
So in conclusion, if I meet Barack Obama, I'll send you the selfie.
Please do.
It'll be the second best selfie I've sent you after me and Brad together. So.
That was a really good one. It's going to be tough to beat that one, honestly. Being completely honest with you.
All right. So after this, they had some conversation, something about like peeing on a couch. I don't really know. Again,
someone peed on her couch, she said. I don't know. She didn't say who.
Okay. So I didn't really
So bizarre. So bizarre.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Then after lunch, we go back to Diana's house. It is the holiday party, and she has extravagant decorations up, like you would expect Diana to be able to do with all the money that she has. And one of the drinks she has is called a gollygasm, which, did you ever drink a buzzball?
No.
Okay. Look up buzzball. And then, okay. So buzzball is just like, you could get them at like gas stations, and it's just like a mix of alcohol, and like 2 of those get you fucked up. And it looked like a buzzball. It does say
it's, oh, okay, I've seen these. No, I've never had one, but they do say they're 15% alcohol.
Yeah.
In this little tiny, okay, that's wild.
It looked like what they were drinking out of.
Maybe I should start drinking buzzballs.
I think buzzballs are kind of like a college thing.
Oh.
But I mean, it's never too late to try, right? So
yeah.
Maybe before our next podcast, we'll each get a buzzball. No, hard alcohol fucks me up. I'll be throwing up. I mean, I guess I could do it for content. So.
We're turning 30.
That's true. We get one last dumb thing in our 20s.
Yeah. We should do it on our 30th podcast birthday.
All right. Well, I might need to call out sick the next day, but it's fine. It's fine. So anyway, the gollygasm. Dorit now has COVID, so she won't be there. They all have to have COVID at this point. They've all it's just a matter of testing positive now. So we get Erica saying she isn't going to drink like she did at Garcelle's, but she had a drink before she even left her house. So
she also said that at Sutton's house, and she did drink more. She's like, only one, and then she had like multiple. So
yeah. I don't believe Erica.
Not quite a reliable narrator.
Yeah. So Kathy gets there, and what were those voices that Kathy and Lisa Rinna were doing to each other?
I have no idea.
I hated it.
Like, I can't. I just can't.
Yes. So Garcelle shows up. She has this like stuffed animal unicorn and to give to Diana's daughter, and she was like, Diana was out of control at my birthday party, which I like wasn't ready for that take. When Garcelle came in with that energy, I was like, oh, okay, Garcelle.
She was.
Oh, yeah, I'm not disagreeing. Like, Diana was there out of spite more than anything.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. And she sent that nasty text message prior to about Garcelle, and then still showed up to her birthday party and was rude.
So Garcelle said that her present was her coming with positive energy.
Yep.
Which we missed you this episode, Garcelle. Welcome back. Also,
I can't with Diana's husband talking to Rinna being like, love your jacket. I want it. And I'm like, this guy wants to be
jackets.
I can't with these husbands. I just can't with any of the husbands.
This is a side comment, but actually, no, I'll say it. Don't listen to the next 30 seconds if you care about this shit. But did you see that the New Jersey women are on a cash trip without the husbands this season?
Oh my God, the husbands aren't there? I didn't know the husbands weren't there.
That's at least what it seems like.
News that I've ever heard in my life.
You seem so excited when I just
because
said that,
I can't with these husbands in New Jersey. I hate them.
That's at least like what it looked like, and someone else commented like it seems like the husbands aren't on this trip
Yeah, I've
unless
seen a lot of videos and pictures and stuff of them, and I have not seen no husband in sight. Oh my God, this is the best news.
there we go. So
Also, Marge and Teresa, buddy buddy, in some videos I saw, which I'm just shocked.
yeah, I've seen them like sitting next to
Shocked.
each other. I'm just like, what? It's weird now because I'm currently in like season 2 Teresa, while also knowing season like 11 Teresa
Mm-hmm.
and Ultimate Girlship. It's Teresa is taking up like weird parts of my brain right now, like, and they're
Welcome.
not connecting. You know,
Welcome to it. Yeah.
my brain is like, what are you, why I don't, I'm like, me neither, man, we're just taking this in, we're along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
So the last conversation we really get into is Crystal and Erica. So Erica talks to Crystal about her eating disorder, and Garcella's there, and Erica's just like, oh yeah, I don't want to throw things up, I use laxatives instead. And Garcelle is just
She
like,
basically sounded like she was suggesting, like, oh, why don't you just use laxatives?
yeah. And Garcelle's
Which
like,
is
what the fuck?
the most out of pocket shit I feel like you could say to someone that has an eating disorder. Like, what?
Yeah, here's a better way to do it. Like, what the fuck? That is not it. So even Crystal, like in a confessional, is like, why is she talking to me about this? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And then here is my issue, is that the last statement, I'm gonna need your help on this, is that I didn't like miss it. Like, I know the chicken tenders came out, but then
Yeah.
I tried to rewind, but it just like jumped into the Real Housewives
Like
of
the next episode.
Dubai, and I couldn't like rewind it. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't have time or energy to like, because we're gonna get into this next episode
Yeah.
regardless. But like the last comment was Erica saying something along the lines of like, you can't eat this chicken tender.
Yes, she said, this is a chicken tender, you can't have it.
Idiot.
This was like, I felt like nothing was happening in this whole episode. I was just like, this is another dud of an episode. I'm so bored. And then the last like 4 minutes, I was like in complete shock. I was like, what am I watching? Like, is this woman for real? Like, I was literally like mouth agape, shocked at what I was watching. So, not that means it was a good episode, but I was just like, I can't believe what I just saw. Like, I feel like we see so much in the previews these days, especially in Beverly Hills, because nothing happens in these seasons, that it's just like, oh, you need a new villain? I'm right here, whatever. It's just like, okay, that was a dud. We've seen it so many times already. But this, I was like, I was truly floored. I was floored.
Yeah, and
maybe more floored by her actually saying like, why don't you just use laxatives, basically.
Yeah,
I think that's the most shocking part.
I'm hoping that there was something that was said between Erica and Crystal, like, oh, chicken tender, you can't have that because you're vegetarian, or you know what I mean? Like, is something more coming? I'm hoping there is, because like, making the drama being about being an asshole about someone's eating disorder, like, I'm just hoping that's not it. I'm hoping I'm not like going to, I don't know, bet money that Erica said something nice, or was like,
I would almost bet money that she doesn't.
Yeah, but shit. Yeah, that's where it ended. Erica seemingly saying that you can't have this chicken tender. Yep. To Crystal, who is being very open about her struggles with eating disorders currently. So great job, Erica. Awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Crystal even said in the episode, she's like, no, I eat it and then I feel bad about it. So she's just saying like, no, you can't. It's just like, this is sick to me. Like, Erica Jane is sick. Erica Girardi, whatever her name is. It's just sick.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to see a preview because again, it went to
Real Housewives. To be continued.
Oh, perfect. Great.
We did get a mid-season trailer. That was relatively interesting.
So my boss on Friday, I had to message him about something else, and I like had to message him about the days I'm taking off in a couple of weeks, and I was like, unless you want to go on the Dahlia family vacation, you can take my spot. And he was like, no, but I do need something from you. And I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, you need to watch the mid-season trailer of Beverly Hills. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then I shouldn't say I tried. I very half-assed tried to find it and didn't and gave up. But I have a meeting with him Thursday, and I'd rather talk to him about it Thursday. So send that my way so that I can watch it, because my boss said, like, think of it as homework that you kind of need to do. And I was like, you got it, dude.
If only I had a boss that gave me Real Housewives homework.
Literally first day I told him about our podcast. So.
I love it.
We usually take the last 5 minutes of our like weekly one-on-one to talk about Real Housewives drama.
I love that. That's all I want in my life. That's all I want.
So that's where I'm at.
One quick piece of news that I just saw today. I think this is from today, only a couple of hours ago. Breaking news. Erica was served a $50 million lawsuit in the airport on her way home from a Hawaiian vacation for racketeering. I don't know what racketeering means, but there's pictures on page 6 of a woman approaching her with like paper saying, you know, you're being served. So she got served in an airport.
Dishonest and fraudulent business dealings.
There you go. 9 charges, including racketeering, conspiracy to commit racketeering, unlawful business practice, and deceit, among others, in relation to ongoing legal drama involving estranged ex-husband Tom Girardi.
Real Housewives of White Collar Jail. We're going to get Jen Shah. We're going to get Erica. Like, let's put all these women in the same place and produce some content out of it.
These women are so like... I mean, I guess you have to be very arrogant in general to be able to commit crimes like this and think you're going to get away with it. But then to go on TV.
Yeah.
Like, would a lot of these people have been caught if it weren't for TV? I don't know. Jen Shah, yes, because there's been a 9-year-long investigation. Yeah. Tom Girardi, probably yes, because he's been sued multiple times by victims. But, like, it's just wild.
Yeah, Andy has said it a couple times in reunions. Like, if you have secrets, you shouldn't be on this show.
Yeah, I think Teresa and Joe would have never gotten caught if they were not on TV. That I will stand for. I don't think that they would have. I think the way that they were, whatever, we're getting off topic.
Does that all play out? Like,
yeah.
I see everything when I'm watching this soon. And does it start in season 3, the legal drama, is what I feel like I heard. But I could be wrong. Like, her and Caroline Manzo kind of start falling out because of
like
the legal
season
drama.
4-ish.
Okay.
I don't think it's in season 3. I think it's in season 4.
All right. Good to know. I'm going to get there. I have a lot going on right now TV wise because I'm trying my best to keep up with Love Island US and UK. But the thing is, Peacock on my computer for whatever reason is stupid. Like, if I'm halfway through an episode and I stop because like, oh, my lunch is over. And like I stop on my TV, I can't pick it up on my computer.
Oh, that's annoying.
Or even if I'm watching on my computer and I stop and I go to come back to it, it takes like 3 or 4 times. It's just a fucking annoying mess. So like I will put, if I'm like sitting, if I want to eat at my desk, I'll put like Hulu on my laptop because it's right in front of me and my TV is like up here and I don't want to sit like I'm at the front row of the movies.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole thing. And so I have like 3 things I'm trying to watch right now, which is I'm very much usually like a one show kind of girl. So there's a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to get to it because so far this shit's been crazy in New Jersey.
Just buckle up for season 3 because it just gets crazier.
Oh, great. Okay. Well,
from episode 1. I won't tell you anymore. But from episode 1, it just gets crazier.
I'm sure you'll get my texts about it.
I hope so.
We come to find out at the end of this last episode of Ultimate Girls Trip that it's the last episode of season 2. I had no idea that we only had 7 episodes. I think we both thought exactly. So welcome to our finale coverage of Ultimate Girls Trip.
Gotta be honest, I'm not that upset about it being over.
Yeah, it's ran its course for me.
Yeah.
Bring me on. I mean, they're already filming season 3, so
yeah,
bring that whenever you're ready. They do start off with a Bluestone College for Wives on pause graphic, which was funny.
That was funny.
And this is the other comment. I don't even know what Dorinda was doing. I've forgotten at this point, but I think it was when Mario, whatever his name, comes in and is like talking about the itinerary for the day. And like the camera does almost a full circle to get to Dorinda. It did like
that was weird. I remember that.
a 270-degree turn. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is with the cameras this week?
Weird.
Like, are we on our iPhones? I am confused right now.
Weird.
Imagine at the end of the episode. Sorry, I thought my dog was splashing in the water and he's just digging at the tile floor. Which he doesn't splash at the water, but I don't know, he's been weird today. So anyway, yeah, imagine like the end of the episode, it's like shot on my iPhone 13 Max or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
it's great.
It's just one big ad.
Yeah. So we're at breakfast. Jill tries to make chocolate chip banana bread again, but like the pans are not great. The muffins get stuck in there. I don't know if she actually ends up making the bread.
It looks like it came out like all janky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did she remake it as bread? I don't know.
Yeah, just letting you know what Jill's up to. Yeah. What Brandy's up to is walking down in the same dress she wore the night before, looking a mess.
A mess.
How do you even sleep in that dress?
This is going to be something mean, and I don't know how else to say it without being mean, but Brandy looks like a person who smells. And I'm sorry, she just does. Like, her hair is always ratty looking. She just doesn't look like a person who has a pleasant odor. She looks like she smells like bad.
Taylor kind of implied that. She's like, could she not fit a bath or a shower in between all of this?
Yeah, like, it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, I think, okay, here's my opinion on this, in that I am someone who has like pretty naturally oily hair. Mm-hmm. Depending on the shampoo, like the last shampoo and conditioner I tried, my hair was producing grease like legit 8 hours after I showered. It was the worst.
Yeah.
But I have no problem. I mean, I'm in a bun more often than not on this show, right? Yeah. Like, I have no problem pulling my hair up, and it helps at least like mask some of this. And it's not because I haven't showered, it's just because this is what my head produces. But I feel like a lot of these women insist on having their hair down like at all times. That just like shows how, like, when the roots are like greasy and oily, and it's like,
yeah,
I get that science says you're not supposed to wash your hair every day, but
they make dry shampoo.
Dry shampoo doesn't do it for me either. It doesn't help. Yeah, I don't know. Like, just figure out how to make it work. And I think that one of the ways to make it work is if you were to just pull your hair up. Like, you can look messy, but it's like part of the look, where like this messy is a different type of messy. This is like, you're not in on the joke messy, where like hair up is like, I know what I'm presenting to you right now.
Yeah, it's like just not cute to see a 50-year-old woman walking downstairs in a dress that she was wearing the night before, where you basically saw inside of her vagina, and her hair is like a rat's nest. And like, what did you sleep in? Where did you sleep? Why didn't you just put sweatpants on and put your hair in a ponytail? Did you think it was funny to come down dressed like this? I don't understand. Like, what's the thought process? I would never. I just know I would never. Even if I slept like that, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I gotta, like, put my hair in a ponytail and, like, wash my face before I go downstairs.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not
like,
an
you're
anxious
on TV.
Yeah. I'm not an anxious person in the slightest, but the easiest way to get me questioning every single one of the decisions I've made is if I've been drinking the night before.
Oh,
and so
yes.
If I were to wake up and be in a dress like that, I would be like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
My first thing would be like, I can tell you the last time I was hammered, and I was playing bags in my backyard with my roommate, and the woman who lived above us, she had a puppy. She got like 4 weeks after Nitro. So like our puppies were best friends, and her like on again, off again boyfriend. And we started playing at like 3 p.m. I drank a whole pack of White Claws by myself. Like, I was hammered. Mm-hmm. And the next morning, like, I looked at my phone. There was messages I didn't remember sending.
Oh
I agreed to like help move something because my best friend fucked up back. I'm like, oh my God. I go out to Brett and I'm like, do I have to apologize to anybody? And he's like, no, you're just like talking a lot of shit during cornhole, but otherwise, like, no. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then I told him, I'm like, yeah, apparently last night I drunkenly like agreed to move something for Tosh, and he was like, yeah, that's the stupidest thing you said last night. So like I immediately go into like, oh fuck, I like, who do I need to apologize to? And so for you to have the audacity to just like wake up in your fucking disco ball dress and walk downstairs, but then go back upstairs for 20 minutes and then come back down again to like, you just want attention.
Yeah, it's just, and it's not like you're walking down to like your friends of your whole, like that you've been friends with your whole life that won't judge you. It's like, nope, these women have actually been really judgmental to you the entire time that you've been here. So I don't know why you thought this was a safe space to look like a goddamn disaster.
Yes. It was an unnecessary walk of shame because it's like a different walk of shame than what you tend
someone
to think
said
of
that
it.
And she was like, I'm not ashamed. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
maybe you should be just like a little, you know, maybe you should have like a little shame. A little shame is not a bad thing.
It's like, let's have some reflection here.
Yeah.
Apparently last night though, when they were all drunk, they all got pizza delivered, which to me is hilarious. That like Dorinda had no idea that like there's even pizza that can be delivered to them at 12:30 at night, which like I do find astounding because they are
I also do. It seems like they're in the country.
Yeah, they are like Massachusetts, you have Boston on the east side, which is like or east side of Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the suburbs around it, and then as you go more west, it is just like
the farm.
Yeah, it is just progressively more rural. Yeah. And however, progressive. They were the only state besides Hawaii in the 2016 election to have all the counties vote for Hillary Clinton. I lived in Massachusetts at the time, so I was very proud of that because I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in the most liberal state. What's up?
Nice.
And so anyway, we're on farms, but you know,
liberal farms
that support like abortions and shit. So but yeah, they're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like especially because they were filming at like an off time, so like I could understand during the summer that maybe, I don't know, but whatever. They got pizza. Good job by you. And Taylor was funny. She was like, oh yeah, I like do not doubt my ability to get pizza delivered somewhere, which I respected out of her. So while they're at breakfast sitting down talking before Brandy gets back down there, Dorinda's like, what type of guy do you think Brandy's gonna end up with? And without missing a beat, Taylor goes, a convict.
Taylor is so nasty.
Yeah, she's like clearly not over her like dislike for Brandy, but
she's like obsessed. Like Brandy's living rent free.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get Dorinda. We're just gonna say that part. She was talking about what she wanted in a man, and then kind of just like, I don't know. It derails somehow to Jill talking about getting a massage and that like a masseuse sucked her toe once.
Yes, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I don't let people touch me, so that would never happen to me.
Yeah, no, I've never had a massage like by a professional.
I've never had like manicure, pedicure.
Never had a manicure or pedicure.
I've never painted my nails. My boyfriend currently has his nails painted. I have
and
never
you have never once had
No.
Wow.
I've never worn makeup. I've never had nails.
Not one time ever.
Literally never. Okay, let me backtrack. I think my mom put shit on me when I was in dance when I was in like
but
first
like
grade.
But yourself, you've never.
Yeah, never like my choice. I've never once.
Wow.
Any of that. So I've never at least been in the opportunity to have like a happy toe ending in a massage.
Ew. That's so gross.
I was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, Brandy comes back down looking like a whole ass mess. They disperse, and then like Vicky and Tamara come down, and Vicky's like, is this chocolate baklava? Or wait, what'd she say? Wait.
No, it is baklava.
It's baklava. No, she's shit. Baklava? No, baklava. No, baklava.
Balaclava or something like that.
Yeah, she said lava, not like she didn't say it. Yeah. Bake lava? Or she said lava, definitely, and like in a way that it was just so weird. The way she said it, I'm like, what the? How do you not know how to say baklava? Like,
right. Also, is it babka? I think it was babka. Was it babka?
Was it babka? I thought she asked if it was baklava, which also didn't make sense to me because it was breakfast and that's a dessert.
Yes, it's not baklava. It was not baklava. Baklava is a Greek dessert. It
Right.
is. It is. What did I say? Babka.
And she
It was
asked if it
chocolate
was
babka. Yeah.
baklava. Yeah,
Yes, she did.
got it. And
Is
we
this
find
before or after they put the turbans on? Because that really
oh,
also made me laugh.
it's before. It's right
Okay.
before. We also find out that Jill's bad summer camp experience is motivating today's activity. So great. But we
Jill
go.
puts me to sleep.
Yeah. Don't worry. If you need a bedtime story, she'll be on Roni Legacy. So we've got Tamara and Vicky up in their room, and I thought it was funny that Tamara's like, Vicky's like a 60-year-old child. Like, she just needs directions for everything.
This is why, and I'm not saying I like Vicky as a person, but I like to watch Vicky on TV. And this is exactly why I like to watch Vicky on TV, because of moments like this. She makes me genuinely like cackle laughing sometimes. And I hate that about myself. It's my toxic trait.
I think I would watch like a spinoff of like Tamara and Vicky just bumblefucking their way through life. You know what I mean? Like,
give me that instead of Luann and Sonia.
mm-hmm.
Because Luann and Sonia are filming that show. I mean, I'll watch that too. But I want to watch Vicky and Tamara.
Otherwise, like, Vicky loses a lot of her appeal to me if you don't have... Because Tamara is good at bringing the best out of Vicky.
Yes.
And where it's not really needed the other way. You know what I mean? Like, Tamara doesn't need Vicky to pull the best out of her, where I think you get the most enjoyable parts of Vicky with Tamara, because, like, Tamara doesn't take her bullshit. She knows, she knows that she's an anti-vaxxer. She knows that she's all these things, and like still loves her anyway for some reason. Like, manages to like not make her, but like enables these moments of like, she's like, yeah, put that towel thing on, which is what you're talking about, like the towel turbans.
Yes.
And she's like really encouraging her to do it, and then like jumps in where I thought it was so funny that Tamara's wearing hers. She's got like the little knot up front, and then Phaedra walks in wearing her silk one, and not the towel one like Tamara is. And it's like they're the same color and everything, just like almost identical, knot at the top and all of that.
Yeah, that was so funny. She just like walked in and they were just like looking at each other. I don't know, it was just very funny to me. This whole scene was very funny to me.
So then Phaedra puts Vicky's on because Vicky can't figure it out, but she does the knot in the back, and Vicky's like, "You did this backwards! Like, why'd you do this?" We're like, "It's not backwards; it's just a different place to tie the knot." So
funny.
Yeah, that was good. Brandy and Taylor have a conversation. They basically clear the air for the 5th time in 6 days. So we're friends. Yay! Then we have Tamara and Vicky again back in their room. So Vicky gets a call, finds out that Steve moved his stuff out of the house in Kodo.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they're officially done. And Tamara's like, she just needs to hear the truth. Like, I don't love you anymore and I am moving on. But not to laugh at Vicky's expense while she's sad, but they're like getting ready to leave the room, and Tamara's like, wait, do you want to go down there while you're crying? Like, are you sure you want to do that?
This made me laugh, and her face is full of tears.
She's like, am I crying right now?
Am I crying? Am I crying? She's fully like sobbing, and she just says, am I crying? This is why we need Vicky on TV. I hate to say it, but like, I'm giving in.
I'm not. You're doing like what pregnant women do, where they like forget all the pain and misery and are like, yeah, sign me up for that shit again. And then they're going through it and are like, absolutely not. And then
I'm ready to have another housewife baby, I think, with Vicky Gumbelson. I think I'm ready. I've been thinking it over. I'm ready.
All right. Well, dibs on Godmother, I guess. They end up at some lake to go canoeing. Jill is the camp counselor, and Jill is just like, I love kayaking. And I'm sitting there like, those are canoes. And then the woman's like, Jill's like, so we're gonna kayak, right? And she's like, no, you're going canoeing. She's like, oh, they're like kayak canoes, right? And she's like, no, they're canoes.
They're kayak canoes, right?
So The women get their challenge on. They start
Wait, I have
training.
to ask you a question. Did you
Mm-hmm.
notice that Taylor put on her Louis Vuitton boots, high heeled
Boots.
boots with no socks on?
Oh, I didn't notice the no socks.
She put on literally boots that just go on your feet. She had to zip them up and she was not wearing socks. That shit's disgusting.
Yeah. As someone who is like not big on socks, I still will wear them in those instances.
You have to wear socks with boots.
Yeah, yeah.
That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Especially expensive ones like that.
Yeah,
But
you're really
yeah,
gonna jank up your Louis Vuitton boots with no your unsocked foot.
I just saw that they were boots and like the high heels. I'm like, you're going on a canoe. Why do you need those? Like, you should be in leggings and a sweatshirt right now. Like, you're,
Yeah, all of them got like way too dressed for this. I was
yeah,
like, you guys like know what a boat is, right? You could
yeah.
fall into the
You're
water very
you're
easily.
doing the rowing. It's not like a
Yeah.
motorboat. It's not like uh when Vicky and the Kios would like go on a boat.
Yeah, it's not that kind
It's
of
not
boat.
that. It's not that.
It's not that.
You got to do the work. So, the girl who works there is explaining like how to row with these paddles, and she's like, "You grab the shaft, and then there's the head, and there's something else, and
This
a lot of dick
was
jokes,
outlandish.
a lot of dick
Outlandish.
jokes in the confessionals there."
Understandable.
I would appreciate if they were just like out loud there, but we got them in the confessionals,
Hmm,
so
hmm.
they split up into groups of two, and um, who was Phaedra with? Phaedra was with.
Well, first she was with Eva, and then she got split up, right? Because there was something like janky about their boat.
Oh
So then,
yeah,
like,
she
they
was like,
split.
"My boat is primitive." That's why I wrote. That's why I was
Aren't they
asking who
all?
Phaedra
Aren't
was
all
with.
canoes primitive?
Those look like some nice ass canoes in comparison
Oh,
to like what my summer camp had. Our summer camp ones, I think that. I mean, they've been around as long as like Bluestone Manor. They're like old, so they were like kind of big. I don't know, but I also think because the ends were like a little bit wider, where like a lot of canoes really like come to a point, that these ones are probably like easier to navigate because you have
hmm.
like a wider front to like, I don't know, water going, buoyancy and shit. I'm not sure, but
Totally.
the science makes sense in my head. So
Yeah, definitely. Same. Totally same.
yeah, but otherwise they're just kind of like out doing their thing. And
Yeah.
the weird thing that came up was Dorinda saying that she likes watching people doing something new like canoeing because it makes her wonder like what they're like in bed.
Yeah, it's weird.
I do not understand the correlation between these two things.
Nor do I. Nor do I.
Yeah. And as they're coming back to shore, Jill is yelling to Tamara and Vicky about how to paddle. And
Yeah.
Tamara's like, "We know how to oar."
Yeah, this is pretty funny.
Yeah. But other than that, I didn't think that there was like too much to take away from the canoeing.
No, this felt like a time, like a just a filler of time.
Yeah, I know you're not a big activities person.
No, I'm
So
not.
after this, they go to lunch, and Jill introduces a word association game, and everybody gave her shit because she gave the longest explanation ever in terms of how to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
But essentially, each woman had to write down one word that described every other woman. Then they like put them in a bag, and then Jill stood up and like read the word, and you had to guess who it was about. Quite a few people called Phaedra kind, and she was like, "This is nice because I wasn't always seen as kind on my show." And then they cut to the confession, or not the confessional, the reunion where she is laying into
This is
Kenya.
actually one of the most disgusting and mean things I've ever heard on Housewives. Like, I know it's iconic, but it's just so mean.
Well, especially because Apollo, 2 or 3 seasons later, is like, "Oh, by the way, I made all that up."
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a reason why people didn't think that you were the nicest. Like, cue this
Yeah.
footage.
I just like don't think it's funny to make fun of a woman's like fertility journey.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a big believer on not making fun of things that people can't control. And I like
Yeah.
to also include weight in that because you don't know what
Yeah.
people's medical shit is. But like, as someone who is legally a little person, And I've heard every fucking short joke in the book. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I'm short. And so I try to live by a, like, I'm not going to make personal jabs, especially about something you can't control. But if you come at me, I will come for the things that you can control, like your fucking shitty personality.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, that was like good for her that she's having a good showing here. But I just don't think she'll ever get back on Atlanta while Candy's there.
No, and I heard she said in an interview that production didn't show her side of the story with Candy. Not that she didn't tell it, that production didn't show it. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but
then tell us
I read
now.
that somewhere.
Like, what are we sitting
like,
on?
Post it on your Instagram or something. I don't know. I want to know your
go
side.
on Instagram Live. Like, you have so many avenues to tell this story instead of sitting here and being like, they didn't tell it. Well, take ownership then. Then do something about it.
Yeah.
What do you
Well, it seems like she doesn't want to talk about it.
What are you afraid of? Like, Bravo not inviting you back? Like, what are you going to come back for? Ultimate Girls Trip 12? Like, you've already been on season 2.
Right.
Use this, like, fame you're getting for a second and tell us your side.
Right.
The other thing that came from this was someone wrote that Vicky is self-involved, and she, like, took it as a compliment. It's like, I am very self-involved.
Add this in another column, another tick in the column of why I want Vicky back on television. She's like, if I'm not going to be involved with myself, who's going to be involved with me? I don't know.
Everyone else is like, that wasn't what it meant. Like, it's not a nice thing. So after this, we get pre-dinner drinks at Shaker's, and they're just, like, sitting outside around a fire. So Dorinda makes a comment, like, they put up a graphic saying that she's, like, hosted the trip and that she did a good job with it. And she's like, oh, well, next I'm going to host a trip to Canada and blah, blah, blah.
Leave Canada alone. Canada doesn't deserve this.
Brandy's like, just don't go yelling at anybody on this trip. It was clearly a joke.
Clearly a joke. Clearly a joke.
It's like one of those things that you think, like, okay, this happened. We can make a joke about it.
We can laugh about it. We made up yesterday.
It's not that serious. She didn't say, like, make sure you don't talk about killing anybody's kids on the night. You know what I mean? Like, Brandy could have, if Brandy wanted to be mean, she had ammo to be mean. And then Dorinda fucking flips. Like, Dorinda's back at being Dorinda. We got one nice episode of Dorinda, and then she's like, no, we're going to make sure that Brandy feels punished. And Durana's just like, make sure that you don't get so drunk at someone's house that you're showing your ass. Like, who cares? Who cares? Like, why did you have to escalate it? And it's just like, you're back to being an asshole. Great. We love this, Dorinda. It's so awesome. Anyway, Vicky in confessional, although I understand why she didn't say it to Dorinda, was like, well, she has only been yelling at people for the last 6 days, but I would have loved one like last Vicky Dorinda drag out before we left. That would have been nice.
Yeah, it would have been.
So Brandy walks away crying, and Dorinda's like, she's crying, I'm crying. I try to put the, like, back to Dorinda's bullshit. And Dorinda says that Brandy's like a teenager that's mischievous. Except she said it weird. She was like, mischief or some, I don't know. But anyway, I was like, you're missing a syllable too. But I'm glad this is over an episode earlier than I anticipated, because I'm over Dorinda.
I'm over Dorinda too. So this was like vicious.
Yeah, it was just because she's sober for it.
Yep.
This is you can't blame this one on the alcohol. Dorinda is sober for this, or sober enough for this, that, like, why are you being such a twat?
Why?
So then we move into dinner, and they each talk about things that, like, surprise them about the trip. So Dorinda was surprised by Vicky's vulnerability. Dorinda says that Jill is the cheerleader of the group. Vicky didn't expect everyone to get so deep on this trip with each other. Jill said that she was, like, scared to have that conversation with Dorinda about, like, what was wrong with their friendship, but they did. And then they, like, talked about how it's an accomplishment to like be at each other's husbands' funerals, and like Dorinda made a comment like it's accomplishment.
So we've been at each other's funerals.
And Brandy is like, you're not dead.
Yeah.
Brandy was having some good like comments to the side during this whole dinner that I appreciated. Other things was that they said Eva should have been a therapist. Taylor says her and Brandy have grown, which I don't believe based off the interaction you had like 2.5 hours ago. Tamara says that her and Brandy are at a good place. She loves Brandy, which they came in with like having Twitter beef with each other, podcast beef with each other. So that's at least nice that Brandy did get some actual, I think, resolution out of one of her beefs.
I think so too.
And Phaedra gave everybody a Bible.
Yes.
And then Phaedra has a whole like chorus show up, and they start singing like spiritual stuff together.
Yes, they do.
I literally wrote, what the fuck is this?
Pretty weird shit that's happening.
Yeah. And that's kind of like how it ends. They like, oh, we connected spiritually.
Yeah.
And here, like, we all like each other, and maybe we'll stay in touch with each other, and like that's it. And they like get in the car, go home, they wake up, and they leave.
Yep.
Like, it was very anticlimactic leaving. It, like, they didn't do it like real world where like one person leaves the house. And
yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. Like
and
they would do more of a grand exit.
They did show Dorinda eating pizza in her bed, which she broke a rule.
Which is a mood. Yeah, she did break a rule.
Yeah, it kind of just like ended there. And I wrote like, wait, that's it? And not that I'm mad, just more like surprised, a little confused.
Yeah, very weird.
So yeah, that's where
felt rushed toward the end.
Yeah, it did. And maybe it was because they had less drama to work with than they did for the first how many episodes, but I'm glad that they didn't try to drag it out. Like, if the opposite is to drag out another episode of what they had, especially over the last 2 days, where it's like everybody's getting along, unless you had shit that was like really worth seeing, I would rather it feel a little rushed than being like, why am I spending another 45 minutes plus Peacock commercials on this?
It makes sense because we saw one episode per day and then they left. So like, you don't need an episode for the day that they left.
Yeah. That's it. That's all.
That's it. We got our first, I don't know if it was a TikTok or video or whatever it was, Instagram post of the season 3 cast interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Sort of interacting with each other.
Yep. I saw like the still image of it. I didn't watch it, but we'll be getting
when they were walking by, I was like, who is that? Wait, who's that? Oh, someone's missing. Who's that? So that's kind of the mood of it.
You're gonna have to watch Miami before. I'm telling you, season 1.
But even like Whitney and Heather, I'm like, wait, who's that? I'm like, oh, Whitney and Heather Fairweather. Ugh.
I'm excited for you to watch Miami. I'm excited for you to see season 2 of Miami. I'm telling you, like, it was so good, so good.
I'm gonna watch soon.
Okay,
for sure.
All right. Do we have anything from the internet we need to cover? It didn't seem like there was a lot.
Just Erica getting sued.
All right, sweet. We talked about that. Then, Katie, what are you doing on the internet these days, or maybe even later tonight?
Well, you can find me on.
Oh, that's me.
You can follow me at KGD26. You can follow
Valencia,
me
don't make fun of that one either. I'll get it right someday.
You're doing great. You can follow me on Twitter at RealSomeKatie. You can also follow me on Instagram there if you would like to, but it's not that interesting. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSomeKatie with an underscore. I was going to stream tonight, but I'm getting like a little tired and I forgot Better Call Saul is on, so I think I'm going to do that instead. But I'll be there tomorrow at some point, so you can follow me there. You can also check me out on Silent Podcasts. We are covering the Big Brother season right now, which has been quite a time over the last couple of days.
Can I say something about this?
Yes.
Okay, I have an opinion, and we're at the 2-hour mark, so if anybody's listening to this, still fine.
Spoilers maybe for Big Brother if you're
I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Okay.
I have a true bone to pick with the people who were like fuck this season. I'm fucking out. I'm sick of this shit. And then when one positive thing happens and they're like, oh, I'm coming back, have a goddamn backbone. If you're going to quit on the show, quit on this fucking show. I am so sick of you fair weather fans. I hate Big Brother fans so much. It enraged me. I saw so many tweets of like, oh, I'm going to watch now. Or, oh, like, now I'm interested, whatever. Like, I am not saying what happened to Taylor was okay. I've already tweeted my opinions on that. I do not condone any sort of racism whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I feel like a lot of people jumped guns, like it was there. Let it, like, she's still there. She still has the opportunity. There's still other people who may see that, like, I don't know. To me, it was just like, especially like the community that we're in, people love to have a reaction and then pile on, especially when it's the opportunity to show how like progressive and forward thinking you are, especially if you're a white person, that like people get to jump on this. And I feel like that happened. But there's also plenty of people of color who are incredibly frustrated by it. And I understand your frustration, not because I experienced it personally, but like, you're sick of seeing the same treatment. And especially after last season, you'd hope that there'd be a step forward, and there was a step back. But something has happened within the last week where there's like, there's a ray of hope. There is some sunlight coming through the clouds, and you have these people coming back to this show that they were swearing off for the first 2.5 weeks of it.
Well, they never left.
Yeah.
They never left the show. That's the thing. It's people like to say they're going to quit. As a Big Brother feed watcher, show watcher, I mean, the show is like almost unbearable, especially if you watch the feeds. It's like, what? This is like a different thing that's what's actually happening in reality. But it's like, it was very hard to watch. It was very difficult to watch. I don't know. I try not to make bold statements like I'm quitting something, because then I don't want to be a hypocrite when I inevitably don't quit those things. So I don't know that I said anything like that, but like I feel like, yeah, people just, I don't want to say no one overreacted, because the behavior was awful. It was awful, and it still is awful. It's still really bad. It has not gotten a lot better. It's gotten a little better because people are being nicer to Taylor, but it's like, it's still really bad. Yeah, we're just finally seeing some karma take hold, which I think is why we're like, oh, things are happening now and karma's happening.
And from what I understand, like the gameplay that's happening, the whatever has come together has not too often happened where like the people who are like outside of whatever, like the main thing, and like being smart enough, like it seemed like Kyle sat there and was like, wait a second, if we can get this and this to happen and then get this to happen, this can happen. And it's like, cool. Like I respect good gameplay or whatever. I was just like so annoyed because of the fact of like I don't know, for me, it's one of those things where I'll give an example of when the Dallas Cowboys signed Greg Hardy to play for them, and Greg Hardy had a whole ass domestic violence case against him. And I was like, I'm not going to watch a single Cowboys game. That I watched the first 4 because Greg Hardy was suspended for the first 4. And once he like took the field, I'm like, I'm not watching any more Cowboys games for the rest of the season. Like, I'm not going to support a team, or like my team, who is openly supporting this like criminal who only got out of it because he like, whatever. It's a whole thing. But I just want like, I don't know, just if you're going to make these bold ass claims on the internet, fucking follow them up. That's all.
Yeah.
That made me mad.
Or just like, don't say it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like,
because you're not gonna not watch the show. You know you're gonna watch the show,
and that's the thing.
We do this every season. You know you're gonna watch the show.
We don't see everything, despite the fact that the feeds give a lot of insight.
We see like a lot of it though.
No, but here's the point I'm gonna make with this is like, we don't know the leading questions that someone is asking the people.
Well, that's true.
Diary room. What is gonna cause someone to like click some things together that may, even if the change in behavior,
I fully believe that. I believe that they were tipped off in the diary room 100%.
Yeah. Even if the change in behavior is performative because, oh shit, they asked me this question in the diary room, and am I being perceived as like whatever, fill in the blank, that behavior can change, which can then cause like actions to change and the game to I don't know. I just have such a if you're going to be that loud, like follow through with it. And so I'm sitting here following this show along on Twitter for the second season in a row. And I'm just like, oh, wow, there's a lot of you who said you quit and all of a sudden are like giving me second by second updates on my Twitter timeline. That's all. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Valid. All valid. All valid. But if you want to hear us talk about the show, you can do that on
It won't be
Podcast.
me. It won't be
it
my
will not
shitty
be Kari,
takes.
but it will be me, and it will be Isaiah and Josie, and we have rotating guests every week. We talk about it on Fridays. We talk about having live feed coverage, but like, you know, sometimes the feeds are hard to watch, so we'll see. Yeah. You can follow us there. Bounce Checks is the name of the podcast. You can also find Kari and I talking about all things The Challenge on Challenge USA, on TJ Hates Quitters, and here, the Cool Water Show. That's what we're doing these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm KGD26 on all platforms, including Be Real, which I added 2 days ago. So I was very surprised I did not get my Be Real notification during this podcast. I am waiting. I'm waiting for it. So follow me, KGD26 on Be Real. I got some friends. That was the goal of my tweet today. I was like, let me get some more people to follow so this becomes more interesting to do. And so if you have Be Real and are listening to this, follow me on that. I will gladly accept you. So
yeah, Valencia in the chat says, what is that? And I asked the same thing, Valencia. I'm an old and I don't know what the fuck Be Real is.
Okay.
I still don't really know.
Okay, I can explain this. So every day, I'm assuming at a different time. The last couple have been at like similar-ish times. It's not exactly the same, but you get a notification and it says you have 2 minutes to take a picture. So like if I were to get it right now, what happens is like, so I would maybe take a picture of like my computer screen, us podcasting, but then like 3 seconds later, your front camera takes a picture, like a selfie essentially.
Oh, hell no.
No, but the thing is, it's not supposed to be like glamorous. It's supposed to just be like, you know how like Snapchat's kind of like real. Not yeah, exactly. And so I'm assuming that by time zones or even like similar time zones, so like I have some friends who are in the UK, so like theirs was up at like 5 something this morning, so maybe theirs was like whatever time, you know.
Yeah,
so they group similar time zones together, so like you and I would get this notification at the same time. You're supposed to take it within 2 minutes. So like you're just taking kind of like a picture of like what you're doing in that moment. It's not as like, you know, premeditated as Instagram is and like filters and all this, and hence the Be Real part. So it's like kind of fun to just like, I don't know, it's been kind of interesting to see like, okay, all 3 of mine, like I'm sitting on my bed and I'm either watching TV. Oh no, yesterday I was doing my homework. So like it's all within the confines of my room. Like you guys are just going to see that I never leave my apartment. Like that's it. But I don't know, just kind of like seeing what everybody else is up to like in that moment, and you can like comment on it, and you can leave like, they're called like real emojis, I think. So like, I forget whose it was yesterday, but like I gave like a thumbs up, like you take a little picture of yourself and you get to like leave that as an emoji.
That's funny. And that's like an emoji.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like not serious. Like it's as serious as you make it type of thing. And what's nice is like, so let's say I had my phone down and the notification came during the podcast, like I can still put the picture up. It just says that it's like 2 hours later than when the notification came in.
Oh, okay. So it like outs you.
Yeah, it'll be like KGD26 posted late. But I think it's also so you don't miss that they like posted it, because like you might be checking around the same time, since like everybody gets a notification at the same time. So it's like not that serious. It's not a big commitment. But I also think it's kind of cool just to see like, oh, okay, at 8:07 Central Time, like Kari's on a podcast and then this person's doing this and this person's doing that. It's not just like post when you want. So that's why I like it. So
interesting.
Add me on Be Real. But otherwise, podcasts, I'm with Katie all the time. That's what we do. We just talk about things like this and TJ Hates Quitters. So we'll be back Wednesday with coverage of that. So it's a good season. If you aren't watching, catch up now so you can be involved in it. We're having fun.
Yes, we are having a lot of fun. It's a great season.
You know what I almost did? I almost didn't put my banner away, but my second screen is being weird. It's okay. We don't need to talk about this. All right. If you are watching videos of us, so you like watching the video content, you can do that on YouTube and Twitch by searching Silent Podcasts, and follow us on Twitter, silent_podcast, where we just tweet about like when we post our podcasts and everything. And if you listen to us in podcast form, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or something else, subscribe, follow, give 5 stars, review, all that stuff. Help us grow and become more popular, because who doesn't love a little bit of internet clout? Am I right?
Who doesn't?
But Bannergate, get out of here, Valencia. Always holding me accountable. But anyway, we'll be back
Valencia's
Wednesday.
a real one.
I know I need someone keeping me accountable, and it is Valencia. So Wednesday night, TJ Hates Quitters, and then for this show we're taking a 2-week break, but we'll be back to talk Atlanta and Beverly Hills then. So episode 30, Buzzballs. It's gonna be a blast next time in 2 weeks. But until then, enjoy your 2-week break from us. We'll miss you greatly. Bye.
Bye.